SPD emergency. Hey, Wolfpack, we are back with another surprise tier list. And once again, we re-enter the realm of those mighty morphers once more. Making sure you guys can hear me. Okay, looks like you guys can hear me. Alright, making sure everything's working, tried to silence the ads, tried to update equipment. Yes, we're back, and we're returning to Power Rangers, the fan favorite show, SPD. One of the last Power Rangers shows I watched as a kitten. I used to think this was the last good Power Rangers series, but then everybody proved me wrong when I saw RPM. SPD emergency. Hey, Shadow, you're early. Making sure everything works, making sure you guys can hear me. Yeah, doing the basic stuff. Alright, we're talking about Space Patrol Delta. We made it to SPD talking about all these episodes. My brother Wolf and I recently binge-watched this entire series because I'm trying to introduce all the good golden Power Ranger shows to my sibling, which he missed out on. And this one was pretty good. Up until the finale, we'll get to that, but got a lot of fun and negative to discuss about this show. We're gonna be ranking each and every episode from the SPD season. Yep, the good, the bad, and the Dino Thunder crossover, they're all here. We smushed a bunch of two-parters into one whole story because, let's be real, it kind of is just one continuous story, and the tier list kind of made it easier that way. So there's only 30 episodes. I know there's technically 38 of SPD, but apparently there were at least 8 to 9 two-parters, and some of them are tied all together as one. The one exception being the 2 Dino Thunder crossovers. Yep, we got it from the pilot all the way to the ending episode, the finale. We're gonna be ranking them all from top best to bottom worst. So if this is your first tier list ever, allow me to go over the rules. I will be talking about critiquing, praising, and possibly even bashing each and every SPD adventure, from who's top best to bottom worst. So, kept it simple this time. I did not make this tier list. This is another one I found, so somebody already sorted out the categories. Up top, we have the best. These ones are S tier, the great ones, the perfect episodes, the funnest adventures of the series, funnest adventures of SPD, and possibly funnest adventures of Power Rangers as an entire franchise. I love them, you love them, fans love them, they are the best. Underneath that, we have good. These ones are decent, passable, they're fun, definitely a watchable adventure, not one of my all-time favorites, but I do concede that they are a pretty good adventure. Have their fun moments, might have a few negatives, but overall I would definitely say it's a worthy episode. It is good. Right smack in the middle we have okay/meh. These ones are fine, silver medal territory, have an equal amount of good and bad. I think they're an alright episode, but not one of my all-time favorites, and honestly might have a lot more negative compared to good. Yeah, I think we might be seeing a lot of the filler episodes down here. They were definitely decent, but nothing too special. They're okay/meh. Then underneath that, we have bad. These ones are plain lame, not all that good, kind of an underwhelming episode, a painfully forgettable episode. I think you guys might know what will end up down here, but basically bronze medal territory. Could have been something amazing, has a few negatives, but has a few positives, but a lot more negatives outweighing it. Definitely not the worst thing ever, but it is just plain bad. And underneath that, in F tier, we have the worst. I think it speaks for itself. 0 out of 10, the bad ones, the horribly, horribly bad ones. Not a good episode, not good Power Ranger representation, not a good SPD tale. They are the rotten ones. They are just the worst. Do not like them, fans do not like them, and this kitty and possible Wolf, if he shows up, do not like them. They are the worst of the worst, and I think you guys can predict which ones are gonna end up lower tier, because SPD is kind of all over the place with its episodes. I say Dino Charge was the real final good Power Ranger series. I have heard that, Shadow. I've not gotten too deep into Dino Charge. My mistake. There's so many Dino shows. I gave the first few episodes a watch to judge a few of the Ranger characters. It wasn't too bad, but I haven't gotten deep into it. I think RPM still holds the record for me as the last good Power Ranger show. I gotta go in a few. Okay, James. Glad you could make it then. Hey, I'm here for a little while. I'm busy at the moment. I understand, James. We're all pretty busy. I agree, though. I do like Ninja Steel. I also, you like Ninja Steel? Ninja Steel is not good, James. I also think Dino Charge is the best of the Nickelodeon era. That's the common fan consensus, that Dino Charge is the only good Nickelodeon era Power Rangers story. Let's see, they had Mega Force, which sucked. They had Ninja Steel, which also sucked. They had Samurai, which was a colossal step down from RPM. And they had, what was it? They had Super Dino Charge. That one also stunk. Oh yeah, and they had that terrible reboot movie, which everyone hated. Yeah, Nickelodeon was not the best for Power Rangers. What do you think of Doggy's episode arc, if he had one? He does kind of have a story all throughout the entire season, but Doggy Kruger is my favorite character, he and Dr. Cat. I think they were easily the best characters of the SPD team, but we'll talk about that as we move along from episode to episode. Okay, so SPD actually had a really strong start. I liked it. I was really intrigued by it. I loved Space Patrol Delta. Then, somewhere along the line, they kind of slipped in quality. There's been like a few lame duck episodes, but nothing that made me hate the show as a whole. It wasn't until the series finale where SPD started gaining some negative points. A lot of people did not like the finale episode. It felt like somewhere along the line we kind of lost the plot. We lost where we were going. They had so many storylines and plot threads, and they did not tie all well together. Some did, but some felt very abrupt or rushed. I think Linkara did a pretty good review on it, but SPD is a good show overall, but it did not stick the landing in its finale arc, which we'll be talking about definitely, and we might be able to find where things went wrong as we go down the episode list. Everyone hated the 27 movie, everyone except me. Really, James, you liked the 2017 movie? Okay, so the 2017 movie had promise. It actually looked good in all the trailers. Actually, I thought it would be fun seeing a darker and edgier Power Rangers. And then we saw the final product, and it ended up being more like, what if Michael Bay and Zack Snyder did the Power Rangers? And it did not work because the Rangers were so unlikable, so poorly written. The actors were a lot more mean-spirited, unpleasant. They misinterpreted what the theme meant by teenagers with attitude. It's like the phrase was different in the 90s, okay? So the Power Rangers were usually likable characters and role models. They did the opposite, and I was okay with this at first, but they didn't change by the end of the movie, and it's what made me hate them more. Plus, they don't morph until an hour and 30 minutes in. It's a Power Rangers movie where they don't morph until the final act. That is lame, man. But SPD was actually a good show. This was the last Power Ranger show I actually watched when I was a kitten. Then I kind of left Power Rangers for a while, never gave RPM a shot. I tried to give Samurai a shot, it was not for me. And yeah, once Nickelodeon got a hold of the Power Rangers, I thought the franchise was basically cooked. Didn't go back, didn't watch anything, until years later, where now I'm a huge hardcore Power Ranger nut. And here we are talking about SPD's episodes. It's fine. Yeah, you say that, James, but I saw the movie and I disagree. Okay, catch up on comments, making sure you guys are here. Okay, so how do I feel about SPD now? I think the show's actually pretty good. I do like it. Up until the ending, the finale really stinks. Wolf and I did kind of reach the fan debate over whose finale was better, SPD's or Mystic Force, because they both got criticized for the same problems. SPD actually has a lot of good story arcs, a lot of interesting characters, but it did fumble in a few areas, and we're gonna talk about them once we go through each and every episode. Now, I hope you guys don't mind. I do have Wikipedia here to read the episodes because as magnificent as your favorite cat is, even I have to refresh my memory from time to time. Beginnings was a pretty solid start to the series. You get a good idea of what to expect, and the team, despite them not working out the best at first, right? That's why we didn't see them more if we had to get to know more about them. What do we know about them, James? What do we really know about them? They made Kimberly an unlikable bitch who I don't want to know more about. She's cyberbullied a girl, and she learns nothing at the end because she's laughing at getting back at her mean girl rival. Alright, so let's talk about SPD finally with the first episode, The Beginnings, and this one I think is pretty good. The first episode is a two-part pilot episode where we flash forward to the future year of 2025. Yes, it is kind of funny that SPD just happened last year, but yeah, we're in the not-too-distant future once again. SPD originally came out back in 2005, so this is a huge flash forward to what they thought our future would be like. Aliens and mutants are living here. Aliens are immigrating here. Apparently, space is unsafe once again in the Power Ranger universe, as most of the universe has been conquered by the Truvian Empire, led by the villainous Emperor Grum and his monstrous forces of the unknown. Emperor Grum, I thought, was a fine villain. I do think he is heavily outclassed by a bunch of other fan favorites. I mean, you know me, I really love Vipra, I love Trakina, Astronema is still S tier, and Lord Zed was a lot more vicious as the evil Emperor character. Grum is fairly creepy. He does have his entertaining moments. He does have his badass scenes. Grum is kind of like a space shredder, I would say. He's mysterious, cold, calculating, lives in his creepy invader ship, and has that awesome skull armor / his skull biology. They were definitely trying to emulate Lord Zed through Emperor Grum to iffy degrees. I wouldn't say he's too bad, and the guy playing him is definitely having fun, but Grum, I thought was an okay villain. Grum has conquered most of the universe, all except for, of course, our little blue planet Earth. Earth is protected by a organization referred to as Space Patrol. They have Space Patrol Alpha through Delta. And yeah, that's the title of SPD. They're the D Squad. They're led by Doggy Kruger in this district. A Squad is the greatest hero of the universe, and they set off on a journey to kill Emperor Grum, only to mysteriously disappear. And we meet our true main characters, a bunch of rookie cadets, and street urchins trying to get by. SPD Squad is basically a bunch of newbie soldiers who get recruited to become the replacement Power Rangers because they need a new unit to protect Earth while A Squad is gone. A Squad disappears, they're Power Ranger less, so they need a new team. And we meet our main characters and set up the show throughout this pilot episode. We meet our team, Jack the Red Ranger, Sky, Bridge, Sid, and fan favorite Z. And we get a basic character intro to them, see how the team unites. The show tries to trick you into thinking Sky is gonna be the leader, because Sky's bragging that, oh, he's destined to be the Red Ranger just like his dad. We see Sky is kind of an uptight, by-the-book cop with a huge chip on his shoulder. Bridge is kind of the goofy, weirdo comic relief. Sid is the girly girl, kind of a human Barbie doll, I would say. She's more concerned about her looks and her makeup than she is fighting people. And we meet the other two Rangers, Jack and Z, who are both basically homeless rebels living on the streets, helping the poor, just like Robin Hood. Jack is kind of a fun-loving troublemaker who cares about helping the little guy, but also has a huge temper and doesn't like being told what to do. And we meet Z, who is a lot more likable. Z is a caring, compassionate woman with a heart of gold, but also finds herself on the wrong side of the law and often in trouble, thanks to her best friend Jack roping her into crazy adventures. And basically, it's a huge character intro to everything, to everyone, to the series, setting up your basic Power Ranger formula. And yet no aliens here, though would anyone want to visit us at this point? No, they would not. We also meet Piggy, who would become kind of the informant, the rat who helps both SPD and also Emperor Grum's forces. Piggy plays both sides because he gets something out of it. Kind of a comic relief character too. We meet Doggy Kruger, who's the Ranger mentor / boss. He's the grouchy chief until he evolves as a character. Meet Dr. Cat, our sexy scientist extraordinaire, who invents the new toys and merchandise for the Power Rangers. And we meet Boom, a character who I really wanted to grow more, but he ended up just being fine. Boom is Cat's beleaguered assistant, always getting into trouble, getting humiliated, blowing stuff up, kind of her wacky sidekick. Basically, meet everyone. Jack refuses to be a Power Ranger. Jack and Z have a fight with Sky and his unit, and they show off their powers. They do establish that mutants are slowly growing in this society. They're trying to take a page out of Time Force's book, showing you that there are mutants living in society. kind of early, considering that Ranzik wasn't formed until the year 3000. But yeah, we see the Power Rangers have weapons which they'll only use whenever the plot demands it. They have like weird mutant powers that are supposed to help their ranger abilities. Like Z can clone herself, Sid can absorb elements like Kevin 11, Bridge has empathy and clairvoyance, Sky has like a power to like shoot lasers and such, and we know Jack has his Johnny Cage skills. All really fun stuff. I was kind of wishing this would kind of go somewhere, or, you know, allude to the mutants of Time Force, but it's kind of there just to give them cool abilities and fight scenes. The Bumblebee reference and Jason and Amy's cameo were good too. Yeah, I love Jason and Amy's cameo in that movie. The Bumblebee reference was kind of cringe though. Sorry, Kat, I was in the car, so I couldn't talk until now. It's okay, Nate the Leaper, glad you made it. We're not too deep in. Sorry, catch up on your guys' comments. Yeah, James, I get it, you love the movie. Yeah, there's no aliens here right now. They probably don't want to come at this point. Gotta go, my folks are calling. See you, James. By the way, every season in the Bruce Kalish era increases the numbers in the title. Oh, they did? Okay, I haven't noticed that. Oh, words in the title, okay. Do you like the little different direction having just 3 teammates at the start while the other 2 join eventually in the second part? Yeah, but it didn't really impress me all that much. It was definitely a unique change of pace where we only have a small team of Rangers before they expand. Lost Galaxy kind of did this better, and I liked it more because everyone in Lost Galaxy kind of came from a different walk of life, and we see that only like handful of them were actually friends. Like Kendrix and Kai were the only Rangers who knew each other. We meet Leo stowing away, Damon is running a museum with Alpha, and Maya gets saved by the Power Rangers. She's an alien from another planet. It felt a bit more unique there. Here we see 3 of them are actually cadets assigned to work together, and 2 of them are on the opposite side of the law until they turn good halfway through. This episode is a 2-parter, basically teasing the Rangers. We see Sky, Bridge, and Sid epic fail to catch Jack and Z, but then they're attacked by a Bluehead and the Crybots. The Crybots. Not one of my favorite Power Ranger minion team. But the Crybots kind of remind me way too much of the Cyclobots. The Cyclobots were a lot cooler and had a lot more personality and badass moments. The Crybots are basically expendable foot soldiers. They're robots, so the Rangers can kill and wail on them all they want. The Crybots attack Sky, Sid, and Bridge. They get separated, and Jack has to go back because he doesn't want to leave them to die. Even though in part 1 he was kind of poking fun at them for it, he seemed kind of okay with abandoning them. But no, Jack and Z go back, save their lives, and of course get arrested because they did break the law. Doggy Kruger realizes that Jack and Z have potential to be Power Rangers, asks them to join them. Z actually does hop on board because Z wants to make a difference, but she wants to do it inside the lines of the law, do it legally. She's tired of doing these Robin Hood stuff and feels like she's not actually helping people. She decides to sign up with SPD, becoming the Yellow Ranger, and Jack refuses until the last third of this 2-parter. Yeah, Jack is basically kind of similar to Nick. He doesn't believe in being a Power Ranger, doesn't want to be, until he's convinced and helps save the day. They fight the Truvian soldiers and kill their first Bluehead, and we get to see those in-space tubes come back. Yeah, SPD also slides through the tubes into their Megazords. Always love that. Love that part of the set. But yeah, basically they form SPD at the end, and are finally united as a team. However, it's very clear they have a lot to work through, and Grum is just going to increase his empire, growing stronger, giving us a pretty solid beginning. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's a very good episode. Not what I would say is one of the best pilot episodes of the entire franchise. I wouldn't even put it in my top 10, unless it was an honorable mention, but I think it's fine. Get to meet the characters, get a basic intro to the formula, see what this world is like, see what SPD is going to be like as a whole, and we get acquainted with all our castmates. Yeah, it's a fairly good start to the series. It is definitely outclassed by later episodes, but I will put it onto A tier. I remember you saying how people said that the Rangers never saved the citizens in the town. Yeah, I did mention that once. Apparently, parents complained that the Power Rangers do not save citizens, they just kill people and blow up monsters. I also did point out Lightspeed Rescue was kind of a reaction to that criticism. It's why we see the rescue team always rescuing innocent civilians, saving people from burning buildings, and evacuating the area before monster and Megazord duels. Yeah, I do think this was kind of fixed. SPD does also help civilians. It was, again, kind of a response to the angry parents, saying the Power Rangers were not good role models. Yeah, it was during the civilian power abilities of Power Rangers, kind of started in Ninja Storm, when the Core 3 had the element powers, then Dino Thunder with the Dino abilities, and SPD mutant powers. I will say SPD didn't do it as well as Ninja Storm and Dino Thunder, because on those two, the characters kind of relied on those powers. Here, they kind of come and go. Sometimes the Power Rangers could have saved or fought the bad guys more easily with their powers, but did not because the plot forgot to write them in. Heck, even Overdrive had civilian powers too, but don't want to talk about that crap. We're going to be talking about a good series, lol. I guess monsters can't become rangers. Yeah, it's kind of weird. They do have episodes that address there are non-humans who are also Power Rangers and working for SPD. Aliens and mutants are allowed to work for the Space Patrol team, but we rarely see them in, like, main character positions. We know Kruger and Dr. Cat are two aliens, but we never see, like, an alien ranger in this show until later, because one of them is A-Squad. Anyways, the pilot is fairly good. I think it's a fine episode, a decent start to a really kick-ass series. Definitely slow in a few areas, and they do kind of slow things down to get you used to the Power Ranger formula, because we always gotta get new audiences into the Power Rangers, but this one definitely good. Alright, next is, remembering the title, Confronted. Yes, this is the one where Jack gets a huge ego. Okay, so I know we all love Boom, but Boom causes the entire conflict of this episode. The Power Rangers are now getting used to their jobs and positions. Jack is not used to the SPD chain of command at this point. However, while talking with Boom, he accidentally tells him, "Oh, you're so lucky to be the Red Ranger. Since you're the Red Ranger, you can order anyone to do anything you want, and they have to obey it." Really? And of course, all the power goes to his head and he abuses his authority. Yeah, we're doing one of those episodes. Jack becomes a bad Red Ranger, on par with Alex and Nick from Mystic Force. Jack pretty much abuses his command and forces the Power Rangers to do a bunch of chores and crap they don't want to do. He treats them like his underlings rather than his teammates or friends, like orders them to do their laundry, orders them to shut up, has them do obstacle and training courses without him because he's too important, and the Rangers have to take it because he's the leader. He's the red one. Heck, you read that one? Yeah, read that one. Okay, so, yeah, basically, Jack gets a huge ego, abuses his Red Ranger authority, and kind of turns the Power Rangers against him. Here in this pic, we have Sky calling him out. Sky tells him that you're supposed to be a leader, you're supposed to care about your teammates, inspire us to do better, encourage us to want to follow your leadership. Jack denies that. However, we find out this was all a very elaborate secret test of character by Doggy Kruger, where Doggy asks his teammates, "How do you feel about your leader, the Red Ranger, Jack?" And pretty much the truth comes out. They don't like him. They think he's a terrible leader. They would not lay down their lives for him, and don't expect him to care about their lives in the battlefield. And Jack gets completely fired. He's sidelined as the Red Ranger while the team goes out, and basically it was all an elaborate master and apprentice type of scheme where Doggy Kruger wanted to humble Jack and show him that they need a leader, they don't need a man-child. You need to shape up, you need to be responsible, you're supposed to care about your teammates. The Rangers go out and fight the monster of the week and pretty much get their asses kicked, they're losing, they're getting beat up, and Jack wants to help them because Jack actually does care about them. Jack shows a lot of character development in this episode and does come around. We see he takes his Red Ranger responsibility responsibilities much more seriously. He shows up and he's a good leader. He helps them, they kick the monster's ass, have a Megazord duel, and the Rangers start to get respect for him. I do like the ending of this too, where Jack is now putting himself under the obstacle course he punished his teammates with. He's out there getting muddy, getting dirty, just like they are, and he apologizes for his bad behavior, showing that he and Sky are starting to gain some respect for each other. This one is definitely a good episode. I'm also going to put it onto A tier. Definitely interesting, definitely funny at times, seeing Jack kind of mistreat the Rangers. He like orders Z and Sid to shut up and quit their bickering, has them do his socks. It's really funny stuff, and Jack does get humbled in the end, suffering some huge comeuppance. If only they applied this to Mystic Force and Operation Overdrive's Red, am I right? The Jack ego episode. Yeah, this was the episode where he needed a reality check on being a better leader. Exactly, Shadow. Top 10, why would you do that, or what were they thinking moments in Power Rangers or other shows? Sorry, I got my waters here to stay hydrated because it is a pretty hot day. Hoping to cool down with Power Rangers. But yeah, basically, it's a Jack episode, exploring his character, having him definitely humbled. I'm very, very satisfied he does get comeuppance halfway through the episode, and the Rangers are slowly building into a team unit in this episode. Pretty good character development episode. I'm gonna put it on to good. Alright, next one. I believe it's a Sky episode. Is it? Yeah, confronted. Oh, Walls. Okay, Walls. This is another one where this time Sky is the dick who needs a reality check. So the Power Rangers are trying to get to know each other, having fun, building bridges, and relying on one another, trusting each other. Basically, the Power Rangers want to become friends, all except for Sky. This one addresses that Sky still does not like Jack. Sky is envious because he became the Red Ranger and he didn't. Sky is very distrustful of Jack's leadership still, and honestly, it almost makes sense considering the last episode where Jack was the dick. This time, Sky is the petty dick, and he refuses to listen to Jack's orders. He doesn't bond with his teammates, he's always dead serious, he's the stick in the mud. Kind of a beginning to Sky's season-long character arc of basically becoming a nice guy, a defrosting ice king. Sky doesn't want to be friends with his own teammates, gets pissed off when Bridge annoys him, when Sid annoys him, tries to become a better leader, and basically always disrespects Jack's leadership, telling him that he's not a good general, he's not a good leader, that he can come up with better strategies, and refusing his orders. It gets to a point where Grum is trying to hijack like a case full of diamonds. The case gets destroyed and they have to watch the diamonds. Jack orders Sky to stand guard and make sure nobody steals these diamonds while they're laying on the ground. Sky stays here for a bit, but then refuses and ignores Jack's orders. He breaks orders, goes to save his team, and this has consequences. Grum gets his hands on the diamonds, the Crybots manage to steal them, while literally nobody is watching or cleaning them up. And basically Sky and Jack have another confrontation where Sky gets humbled, starts listening to Jack's orders, starts to accept that he's not the leader, he's not in charge, and kind of like getting it through his thick skull that you are not the team captain anymore, now Jack is, you have to listen to him, you have to work together. And this one, honestly, is our first okay episode. I think it's fine. There are way better Sky episodes coming up, trust me. I do like Sky, he's one of my S-tier Blue Rangers, if you remember that tier list. This one, Sky is definitely at his worst. He's very annoying, he's whiny, complaining, kind of like Batman and Robin, Chris O'Donnell Robin, always whining, doing the nostalgia critic, basically being a huge baby because he's not used to Jack being the leader. Yup, it's now that Sky needs to be a better teammate. Hey, Tails, Sky can make it. Yeah, basically, Sky learns the lesson to be a better teammate, starts listening to Jack's orders, realizes Jack is right, and it actually kind of ends on a very serious ending. Grum gains a victory here because he managed to swipe the diamonds for his ultimate evil plan, which won't pay off until the finale. Yeah, basically, Grum steals a bunch of valuable stuff, and it's building up to some huge finale event. That's basically what it is. Sky does suffer, he gets called out, and basically learns to shut up, take orders, and listen to his squad leader, that he's not the Red Ranger, that he has to trust Jack and Doggy Kruger. And it is definitely a humbling episode. We see Jack and Sky are getting along here at the end. He agrees to finally fall in line and start listening. Definitely an okay episode. I will say it is Sky at his absolute worst, but he does get called out on it. You hope he changes for the better, and this is basically a start to a grander storyline. I think it's alright on its own, though. I read that one. Hey, Tails, glad you can make it. Yeah, we're on episode 4, technically, because the first one's a two-parter. But yeah, this one, I think it's an okay episode. Not one of my favorite Sky adventures, but it is definitely the start, the seed planting something much bigger. Okay, going silver medal territory. Alright, next we finally get to our first Sid episode. Yes, we made it to the Pink Ranger Sid. Sid is very much a complete total bitch in this episode. We get a spotlight episode on the Pink Ranger's life. Sid is kind of a mean girl. She's technically a pretty girl. She likes makeup, she likes toys, kind of acting like she's still a high schooler, even though these Rangers are technically adults. Sid is very much mean towards the team's pet, Rick. Yep, here's Rick, or Rip, I believe, the cybernetic dog who's supposed to turn into a weapon that helps the Power Rangers. Sid is at her absolute worst in this episode, and it's a story about her learning to become nicer and humble. And yeah, this episode did not really make it on my best episodes list. I know some people like Sid, but I never really loved her as a Pink Ranger. I just found her kind of too mean, too shallow, too self-absorbed. I know this story is about her becoming better, but didn't really stick with me, didn't make me really love her. Rick, the robot dog, seems to like Sid, but she doesn't like him. She always treats him like junk, basically. The dog is malfunctioning because he's obsolete technology, and Sid at one point says, oh, you should just scrap him, send him to the dump already. He's not useful, he's just gonna die. And even the Rangers are kind of disgusted by the way she's acting. I must say it is a pretty low moment. She talks about killing the cybernetic dog and recycling him into something useful. Kind of a low moment for your Pink Ranger, but yeah. Basically, they got in the battlefield, and Rick takes a bullet for Sid. Or I should say a laser. The dog gets shot protecting the Pink Ranger, and complete and total turnaround. Now she loves Rick, doesn't want him to die, wants the team to fix him. And unfortunately they can't because, again, he's obsolete technology. And this leads to Sid forming a bond with the team dog. She loves him now, she defends him now, she wants him fixed. They almost fix him, but he seems to be glitchy and not 100%. They follow Rick's lead, trying to find where an alien stole all this valuable stuff, and they end up in like some weird desert area. Yeah, get used to that on Power Rangers, fighting in the desert or the woods. They end up here and they can't seem to find anything. Sid kind of breaks her girly persona and decides to trust in Rick. She keeps digging even though it's starting to get rainy. She's in the mud, exiting out of her comfort zone basically, because she holds out faith that Rick is still right and Rick is fully functional. And it turns out her leap of faith paid off. She does find all the missing ooze that the alien has been stealing and has a secret base underground. She's able to find it, prove that Rick is still functional, and Sid and Rick become best friends. Rick is fixed by her, she trusts him now, and Rick finally transforms into their super laser the SPD team uses. Yeah, this cute little robot dog becomes a new Power Ranger super weapon, and Sid and Rick become best friends hanging out. Okay, so it tries so hard to make you like Sid, but it did not work for me. I'm sorry. I think her mean moments were too mean, if you catch my drift. She kind of crosses the line talking about how she doesn't care if the dog dies, which seems pretty mean. Even like Z was calling her out on it. Sid is at her worst until suddenly she's not. The turnaround, I kind of have a hard time buying. Basically, she's mean to this dog until it gets shot taking a laser that was meant for her, and I can see her wanting to fix him, but then she suddenly like loves Rick, has faith in him, and is actually starting to change as a character rather suddenly. Hey nerds, hey Jon Snow, glad you can make it. I will say there were many funny moments with Rick. Rick was more of the star in this series. Love how he just breaks the door every time. Kruger, I just had that fixed. Yeah, Doggy Kruger was pretty funny. Okay, so Rick is definitely the highlight of this episode, which is ironic because it's supposed to be an episode making you like the Pink Ranger. And I just don't. I don't like the Pink Ranger in this series. Honestly, Z felt like the better female ranger character. Z was nicer. Z undergoes character development. Z was a role model girls could look up to. And Z has a much better episode in this series. Sid's one and only spotlight episode was kind of a miss for me. Might upset some people, but I'm gonna put it onto bad. Not the worst thing ever because Rick is actually pretty funny in this. He's the only thing keeping it out of F tier, but the Pink Ranger's attitude really got on my nerves. I'm sorry. I do not like Sid. Going on to bad. Still haven't had a great Pink Ranger since Jen. Jon Snow, you made it. How do you know the episodes if they have no titles? Are they in order? Well, they picked like an image about the episode, and the image is supposed to be a hint as to what the episode is. Also got Wikipedia here. But yeah, not a very strong Sid-focused episode. She'll kind of get better in an episode later with Jack. Yeah, we're getting to that. This one, is this a bridge? Got dogged. Yep, a bridge. Okay, now we get our next spotlight episode on Bridge. I am surprised how many people were in my chat last SPD tier list defending this guy as a good Green Ranger. Bridge is the comic relief ranger, and we get an episode spotlighting him. Bridge is the weirdo. He's the guy who's out there, says random stuff, supposed to be the comic relief Green Ranger, and honestly, I don't hate him, but I just never found him funny. Bridge often came across as more annoying, and yeah, basically all the child-friendly humor comes from him. Bridge gets the spotlight in this episode. They're trying to hunt down a mysterious monster who's destroying things. There's a monster on the loose causing a rampage, and they think it's this evil guy, but this guy turns out to be a bounty hunter hunting the real villain. It turns out the villain is disguised as an ordinary human, and here we see why Bridge is a cherished SPD officer. Bridge is actually a genius detective. He seemingly does these weird and random out there things while on the job, but it turns out there's a method to his madness. Bridge tracks down the true monster terrorizing the city in this episode. Seemingly he's doing like random and weird stuff, but he actually like walks up to this girl and is testing her, has her blow into a balloon so he can analyze her breath, and it turns out Bridge found out who the real monster is. This attractive civilian girl is actually an aquatic monster terrorizing the city. She's the true culprit, and nobody knew about it except for Bridge. Bridge basically runs tests, exposes her, and collects evidence, and it turns out Bridge is actually a very useful kick-ass detective character. I will say Bridge is definitely a badass in this episode, so if you do like this Green Ranger, you may love this episode, but Bridge fights the evil succubus girl, defeats her, and proves that, yeah, he is a fully capable SPD officer. There's a reason he was recruited to be a Power Ranger, and the team gains newfound respect for him. Kruger, Bridge, a word with you, Bridge? Yes, sir. You have a bath book. Well, yeah, don't you? Yeah, basically, it kind of pokes fun at how weird Bridge is. He does, like, random stuff, like he has a bath book, as Shadow points out. He always, like, goes upside down on his head, kind of like Gomez Adams, because it helps him concentrate better. He tracks down and asks people weird questions. He's, like, blowing balloons. He follows the civilian girl, finds out that her dog is not of our world, has her, like, blow air into a balloon. It's really weird stuff. It's sometimes funny, but also kind of out there. Yeah, this was supposed to be an episode to make you like Bridge, and I will say I do like the twist that, oh, he was actually on top of things the entire time, showing that he is a competent officer of the law, but man, if you're not into the goofy Power Rangers comedy, some of this stuff will really really weird you out. I wouldn't say it's like the funniest thing ever. I have seen much better comedies on Power Rangers, but this is another, I think, okay episode. Oh wait, that's good, yeah. Going on okay. I did like it a bit more than Sky's episode, that's for sure. Alright, so yeah, I think it's a mid-tier one. Some funny lines, some funny bridge scenes. The guy playing bridge is definitely giving it his all. I did not think he was a bad actor, but I do think he could have used a lot more tighter comedy and jokes. Hi, Kat. Hey, Akira. Like SPD emergency. Yep, Akira, we're talking about SPD. Yeah, Bridge's episode. Okay, so I tried to like Bridge too. I just didn't really get a feel for him. I think he's an okay ranger, but he is really outclassed by a bunch of better Green Rangers. I still think Damon was the funniest Green Ranger. Hey, Cat. Alright, this one going on okay to meh. Yes, we made it to Sam. Finally an S-tier episode. A Z episode. Where Z saves Sam, the awkward orphan boy with no friends. And this one is going on to the best. Yep, we finally got an S-tier one from SPD, folks. And yep, it's pretty good. Sam is an ostracized kid with the power to teleport things, but he gets bullied, he gets ostracized, and he has no family. Basically, he was abandoned because he's a mutant freak. Again, kind of proving that hashtag Ranzik was right. But Sam has no one looking out for him, but until he finds himself caught in between the battle between the Power Rangers and Moira. We finally get an episode about Grum's second-in-command, Mora. / Morgana, depending on what you like to call her. Moira sees potential in Sam and wants to use his powers for evil. And we get a spotlight episode on Z. Z actually feels sympathy for Sam and relates to him because we learn Z's backstory. Z was also an ostracized loser kid with no friends. Z did not know who her parents were, she did not know how to control her powers, and she was bullied by her peers in school. Z has the ability to clone herself, usually like 2 to 3 clones because Power Ranger budget. But Z feels Sam's plight. She feels sorry for him, and Z wants to save him because nobody saved her back when she was a kid. And Z and Moira both fight over gaining Sam's trust. Sam has the power to teleport things, and he's using this power for selfishness. Z stands up for him when he's getting bullied. Moira pretends to be his friend, has her creepy dolls to communicate with him, and she dispatches a really creepy Toyman-like monster with this really eerie voice to help Sam basically get back at the people who bullied him, play with her, and make them into toys. And Moira's definitely creepy in this one. Moira wants to turn living people and aliens into dolls, and she's using Sam and her Toyman alien to do it. I want new dolls. These old dolls are boring, and transforming people painfully into Barbie dolls. Really good episode, really great mystery. The dilemma with Sam is definitely a top-tier Power Ranger story, and I do like that they do kind of give you sympathy for Sam because there's a reason why he's trusting the villains more. The villains are encouraging him, gaining his trust, convincing him that, oh, you could use your powers to help yourself. And Sam is struggling between good and evil. Well, Z gets a lot of character development, really makes you like her, you understand why she is the way she is, and Z is actually a pretty good role model here, trying to convince Sam to become good, use his powers for good, that she doesn't see him as a freak, that she's actually his real friend, because she's convincing him to do the right thing. And now our first Z-focused episode, and it's a pretty great one. Very strong with how she helps Sam by relating to him, with how Z used to be bullied. Yeah, this one kind of made me like the Yellow Ranger a lot more. I can definitely see why people love Z way more than Sid, because Z, well, she's very pretty, she's very attractive. Monica May still looks pretty hot today. She is also very friendly, very compassionate, very outgoing, and she's actually sticking up for an antisocial kid, which makes you like her a lot more than Sid. Z risks her life trying to save Sam. It is another two-parter. Moira is gaining Sam's trust and using him to turn people into dolls. This has like one of my favorite funny scenes too, where She tries to kill the Yellow Ranger, turn her into a doll, and she accidentally gets the clone of Z turned into a doll. The clones do not have lives, they are projections, they're just temporary. They die whenever Z can, like, snap her fingers, basically. I love that. She tries to turn the Yellow Ranger into a doll, too. She gets one of the clones, and Grum tries to steal it. Grum, that's my dolly. No, it's mine. A trophy befitting a king. And the clone evaporates in his hands, and Moira actually laughs at him. Like, she's like poking fun at him, calling him stupid, and Grum shouts at her and scares her away. She like runs away like a coward. That was like one of the funniest scenes I've seen from them. Like, Z's power is cool, like the Polymouse from Miraculous. Exactly, Akira. Like the doll maker from the Twilight Zone Gen 3. Yeah, that's basically the weird monster. The monster of the week is really creepy. Gave me like huge pedo vibes. Sam wants to play with us. Come play with us, Sam. Be with me and Moira. The Power Rangers aren't your friends. Has this really unsettling voice. By the way, could we do a Power Rangers Morphers tier list? You know, I might. I have gotten requests to do that, though it might be kind of weird because seeing some of these morphers used in different methods, I might be into that, but we'll see. By the way, have you seen my TN of Black Bison Ranger Danny, and Minotaurus? Yeah, I did see that. Thought it was pretty cool, Akira. I couldn't unfortunately use it for the channel because it had very low kilobytes. I thought it was a good drawing though. Okay, so yeah, they help Sam fight, save the day. Z proves that she is actually a more compassionate friend for Sam. Sam, of course, ends up choosing the side of good. Moira and her Toyman monster try to destroy the city. Hundreds of people are almost taken by the Truvian Empire in this. But of course, once they kill the monster of the week, all the dolls turn into regular humans and snap out of the Truvian ship. Yeah, Moira loses her power, loses her victory. I don't think this is the episode where Moira became Morgana just yet, but yeah, it's her first devastating loss and Grum is really pissed. Sam chooses the Rangers, and the SPD unit basically adopts him. They're gonna send him to an academy to harness his powers for good and teach him to become a better person, ending with Sam becoming besties with the Power Rangers. This will have payoff in a later storyline, but this episode is great. I think it's one of SPD's best episodes ever. The writing is really good. The story between Z and Sam is very great. Moira actually became a serious threat in this episode. A lot of creative visuals. It is just a very darn good episode. Easily SPD at the best. Read that one. Someone made a death battle for Black Cat and Catwoman. Yeah, he told me that. And they want to do it. They should do it. Alright, so yeah, Sam, definitely the best. Unfortunately, Sam was much more interesting as a child than he was as an adult, but we'll get to that one later. Next, I believe this has to be Idol. Yeah, it is Idol, okay. Got another Sky episode. This time, it's a friendship episode between Sky and Jack. Once one of Sky's old buddies from the Academy returns. So, one of Sky's best friends from the Academy days is coming to SPD, and this causes distrust between Jack and Sky because the buddy, of course, turns out to be evil. Yeah, we're once again doing kind of an episode that Power Rangers always does. The friendship triangle. One of the friends turns out to be evil. Sky's best friend, trying to remember his name. Let's check Wikipedia. Drew. Okay, Drew Harrington. Okay, yeah, Drew comes in. Drew is super cool. He's like Sky. He's kick-ass. He's a great Academy recruit. However, Drew is secretly working for the Truvian Empire and sabotaging SPD from within, causing Sky to choose who he trusts, Jack or his old buddy. Drew turns out to be a mutant monster disguised as a human who's trying to destroy SPD, and he doesn't trust Jack. Jack finds out Drew is evil. Jack suspects there's something off about this guy. And of course it leads to a battle between the two best friends. This plot should sound familiar because this is very similar to Lost Galaxy's Memories of Miranoi, one of my all-time favorite episodes. And I do think Lost Galaxy kind of did it better. Another great one, Idol, very excellent Sky episode dealing with a former friend who actually turned traitor. Very good one-off villain with Drew. Yeah, here's Sky versus Drew. Drew is stealing stuff from SPD, Sky intervenes, and of course Sky takes a leap of faith and trusts Jack, forcing them to fight each other. And Drew is a complete monster, turned his back on SPD, total sellout, calls out Sky for being weak, for actually believing SPD was good, making fun of him for actually caring about upholding the law. And Sky does get a good battle here. Not gonna lie, I still stand by what I said. I do think Maya battling her best friend Chandra was a lot better. Yeah, also a lot hotter. But Sky in his battle with Drew definitely has huge stakes. This is a really good one. I might put it onto A tier. High A tier, but yeah, I think it's another good episode, not a phenomenal episode. This one has a lot of heavy character drama. Sky is starting to trust Jack a lot more. Jack is proving he's a good SPD detective, and Drew is definitely a standout one-off villain. He's very creepy, very cold, very calculating. They try to make him the anti-Sky. He's like Sky, but using his abilities and intelligence for evil, which is pretty good stuff for Power Rangers. A lot of great scenes. The fight in the warehouse is definitely really creepy. They're like in the dark warehouse trying to track Drew down, using his shape-shifting. He attacks Sky, abducts him. Sky and he have a fight in the SPD hallway. Looks really good. Funny how this, in a way, was foreshadowing the twist later of a certain team turning traitor in the finale. Yeah, it kind of was. This is basically showing that, yeah, SPD officers can go down the villain path, and foreshadowing for A Squad. Yeah, A Squad showed up once in the pilot, then disappeared, showing you that SPD does have its flaws. I do think it's a pretty interesting premise, pretty good storyline regardless. I think it does hit a few of the old formula beats we've seen in other Ranger show episodes. Yeah, I've been kind of binging these shows and started to realize that, yeah, Power Rangers does recycle a few plots. This one I do think is an alright copy of Memories of Miranoi, though because I'm kind of biased towards Maya, I do prefer that episode more. Sky's episode is definitely not bad, has a lot of kick-ass storytelling. I like him and his chemistry with Drew, seeing them go from best friends to bitter enemies, and Jack and Sky definitely build a lot more trust by the end of the episode. Definitely a good one. Almost to S tier, but I'm gonna give it an A+. This one's definitely fun, really kick-ass. I like the SPD series, as my first SPD MU for Death Battle is Ryuko versus Sid? Really? Okay, I have to see that. A Squad should have been in the show a bit more, so the twist would be more impactful. Absolutely agree, Shadow. Absolutely agree. A Squad should have had a Psycho Ranger style arc where they were reoccurring villains. We needed to get to know A Squad a bit more in order to feel that emotional gravitas to their betrayal and how they're supposed to be dark reflections of the SPD team we love. Personally, I blame this more on Disney not giving them enough episodes, but we'll get to that later. This one between Sky and his best friend honestly is a pretty good episode. I'll still recommend it, going on A tier. Alright, next. Yes, is it the stakeout one? Yep, it is. Okay. Okay. Alright, so the Power Rangers go on a stakeout, but they only need 2 Rangers. This one's about Jack and Sid. It's Sid's birthday. And just when you think this episode is going to be about the Pink Ranger, halfway through it turns out to be an episode about Jack's life. It's honestly kind of weird and trippy that they change up the plots halfway through, but yeah. Basically, a scientist is being hunted down by the Truvian Empire. The monster of the week is trying to track down this scientist, and the Rangers are posted on guard duty to keep her safe and watch her, leading to an odd couple team-up episode between the Pink Ranger Sid and Red Ranger Jack. And once again, this show did not do a good job making me like Sid. Sid is going to her birthday party. She glams herself up, wears her sexy dress, and basically tells the Rangers that they weren't invited. Kind of a bitch move here, and it's kind of a reason why I don't like Sid. Sid is going out to her birthday dinner, having a huge party, and none of the Rangers were invited. She doesn't like her coworkers. It's kind of a big middle finger to them. Like, we didn't even know it was your birthday. Oh, well, that's because you weren't invited. And it's supposed to make us like the Pink Ranger. Sid does kind of suffer some comeuppance for this, where Jack forces Sid to go on a stakeout with him to keep the scientists safe. Sid doesn't want to, she's like freaking out about it, being very petty, but ultimately she has to because it's her job. Sid and Jack have an odd couple team up in this episode where they're watching the scientists together and slowly bonding. I love that Piggy comes in kind of interrupting them. They have like a friendship banter here. Basically, Jack has never had a birthday, and it's why he doesn't understand why Sid treats it as such an important deal. Sid does come out of her shell, does start reaching out to Jack, and they become best friends in this episode. She learns more about Jack. Jack was poor. Jack didn't know his family. Jack never had a birthday before in his life, and it's why he's kind of being a hard ass towards Sid because, well, she kind of is rubbing her birthday in everyone's faces. Jack and Sid become besties and learn to trust one another. They work together, become a team, and they stop the stakeout monster, share pizza with Piggy, and Sid, to her credit, does change by the end of the episode, where she does invite the Power Rangers to her birthday party. She apologizes for being mean to Jack and wants him to have a birthday party too, where Sid actually opens up and shares her birthday party with Jack, which is a really nice, wholesome ending. Another Sid episode, but then again, it's also about Jack too. Thankfully, though, it's still a solid one, and you do feel bad for Jack never got a birthday celebrated with his sad backstory. Yeah, I will say I did like that we got to learn more about Jack, but it's kind of weird. You think this was going to be a Sid episode, but no, both the Pink and Red Ranger become besties by the end of the episode. Definitely Sid grows more likable in this one compared to the Rick episode. And yeah, the fight scenes, as always, are really cool, always stand out. The scientist almost gets captured, but Sid and Jack work together to save the day, and Jack gains an understanding of why birthdays are so important. Kind of makes you feel like they should have given this sort of arc to Maya, the Lost Galaxy Ranger too, but honestly, it's not too bad. So Sid has a better arc than Chloe. Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. The Red Ranger Charlie was the only one with a name in A Squad. Yeah, she was. By the way, Kamen Rider is making a new series with a Black Cat Rider called Kamen Rider Meowth. Myth, okay. My favorite Kamen Rider is Kamen Rider Gave and Kamen Rider Gyatz. Yeah, I heard a lot of people like that. I've never seen Kamen Rider though, Akira. Moments with Jack definitely saved the episode for sure, absolutely. This one I'm gonna put onto low A tier. I think it's a good one, but definitely outclassed by some of these better episodes. The weakest moment is honestly Sid. This is supposed to make us like Sid, and it almost works, but her, like, completely snubbing her Ranger friends and almost not inviting them to her own birthday party just feels too mean. I thought she was grown better after the Rick episode. But no, Jack gets a lot of great character development. Piggy is actually pretty funny. He, like, annoys them for a piece of cake and pizza. He shows up at pure random. Rangers once again kick ass, save the day, and it's showing that Jack is becoming slowly a true friend among the SPD Rangers. Unfortunately, a lot of these episodes kind of retroactively became worse once we get to the finale. This one I think is fairly good. I'm gonna put it onto low A tier. Definitely a fun Jack and Sid misadventure. Yes, back at an S tier episode. Time for the 6th Ranger, the Shadow Ranger. SPD emergency. Doggy Kruger becomes the Shadow Ranger. And yes, this is going on the best. Okay, so a villain from Kruger's past is back. Let me remember his name here. Where he was on his home planet Sirius was invaded by Emperor Grum. He lost his best friend. He lost his team. Here it is. Trying to find the monster's name. I'm sorry. I know it was some guy from Doggy Kruger's past. Stir up trouble, Earth takes warm, Broodwing. Oh, Banog. Okay, there it is. My mistake. Alright, so yeah. Basically, evil guy Banog, I believe is his name from Wikipedia. Like, I'm trying to remember. Okay, it is Banog. Okay. Alright, sorry guys, just catching up. Okay, so Banog shows up. He's a villain from Kruger's past. We finally learn more about Doggy Kruger, the Ranger mentor, the dog alien chief in charge of SPD. Doggy Kruger lost his entire homeworld to Emperor Grum, and this guy named Banog. His wife was captured. Icenia was taken hostage by Grum. We're tricked into believing she died here, and honestly, I was kind of hoping that Kruger's wife was dead to give him a lot more of a dramatic backstory. I mean, they did that for the Magna Defender, but I guess they were afraid of copying it too closely. Icenia was quote-unquote killed. Emperor Grum successfully destroyed his entire home planet. Doggy Kruger is the last of his kind. Doggy Kruger is haunted by these nightmares, but then a villain from his past, General Banog, steps out and is assassinating the Power Rangers. By assassinating, I mean depowering and defeating. This guy is too OP, and we need somebody who can actually take this bad guy out. Here's where Doggy Kruger gains the Shadow Ranger armor. Yep, this is it. We meet our 6th Ranger. Doggy Kruger becomes the Shadow Ranger, gets that cool wolf blade, and fights General Banog once Dr. Cat is taken hostage. So much better birthday episode than the Bubbler. Yeah, just barely, Akira. By the way, we need Blue Thunder Brother Blake, Green Samurai Cam, Blue Jaguar, Ranger Theo actor for Shang-Chi for Marvel Rivals. Have you heard the new DC fighting game DCKO where people hate it since it isn't Injustice 3? Yep, people want Injustice 3, okay? It was a good game series, minus some bad story writing. Hey, I'm back, but who's SPD? Oh, you don't know, Monica? This is the SPD team, Space Patrol Delta, another season that takes place in the future. But it does show Zatanna and Catwoman as playable characters, and your favorite DC alien girl, Starfire. Okay, pretty cool. Got a good roster. Okay, so Doggy Kruger refuses the call for part 1 until part 2. He becomes the Shadow Ranger. Yep, here he is. Somehow Doggy Kruger's dog muzzle turns smaller to fit in that helmet because it's a human stunt double. Yeah, it's kind of funny and they never explain how, but I point to how Justin becomes an adult when he morphs into a Power Ranger. But yeah, Doggy Kruger doesn't want to become the Shadow Ranger, realizes he has to, realizes that the stakes are growing tougher, Grum is growing more powerful, and this guy is completely wrecking everything. I believe we also see Grum's actor in human form. Grum wants to explore this world that he's about to conquer, and we see the guy who plays Grum inside the suit finally take off his armor and makeup and see that he's a handsome Indian guy. He walks around, is disgusted by Earth, realizes this planet is weak and his forces should destroy it. But Grum plants like a huge antenna in the center of the Earth, which they can't destroy because their Megazords are too weak. Did you see the new Wolverine story trailer? Sabretooth was even bigger than before. I've not seen it yet. I saw the few gameplay footage that was released where Wolverine is fighting and slicing guys until he meets with Jean Grey. I'm hoping the game is really good. Are we gonna have a Starfire tier list? We should, Akira, we should. Different from his Super Sentai counterpart where it's a furry dog. Yeah, I'm not sure why they changed it. I'm not sure if they didn't know how to recreate the suit or not, or if they thought they could make him look more like a dog. I think the Kruger Muppet actually looks pretty good. Yeah, we just see Grum in his human form. Honestly, pretty interesting stuff. Grum, plants a death machine on the Earth to destroy it faster, forcing Doggy Kruger to step in. The Rangers fight, but the General is too tough, where Doggy gets his Shadow Armor. And yeah, this is pretty cool. He gets this cool Shadow Sword, gets this cool high-tech armor, manages to kill literally 100 Crybots in under a few minutes. Dr. Cat gets taken hostage, forcing Kruger to save her, where he murders an entire army. We see a countdown of how many he's killed. It is so amazing. But yeah, it shows you how awesome this 6th Ranger is, and even gets the huge-ass Megazord, the one that is the entire SPD precinct base, turns into the Shadow Zord, and they destroy Grum's death machine. It is so cool. Yeah, Doggy Kruger is amazing, and this 2-parter highlights why he's one of the best Ranger mentors. Easily S tier. Also, another Godzilla vs. King Kong actor died. Yeah, I saw that. The little girl passed away. So sad. And a Wolverine and Sabretooth tier list. Yeah, the little girl, I heard she got in like a car crash. She was like only 19 years old. Very sad. But good news, the Shadow Ranger episode. This one's S tier. Really like it. Doggy Kruger's amazing. We learned so much about him, and I think this was a point where a lot of fans thought Doggy Kruger was the main character because he undergoes a lot of development in this one. So glad to see the boss is finally getting his hands dirty, showing you that Doggy Kruger was a vastly different mentor character compared to past Power Ranger mentors. Easily a best episode ever. S tier. Alright, unfortunately we're getting to the one that followed it, Abandoned. Yeah, this is it. Shadow, then Abandoned. Okay, this is another one where the Power Rangers are at their worst. So, after the Shadow Ranger proves that he's a badass, the main 5 Rangers get friggin' lazy and decide to slack off. Yeah, the Power Rangers decide, well, now that we have the 6th Ranger, he can do all the hard work himself. And all the Rangers basically become a bunch of lazy bums who do nothing, kick back, eating chips, screwing around in base, while Doggy Kruger does all the work. And yeah, basically, the Rangers are at their absolute worst in this episode. This one I did not like. It's also going on to bad tier. The Rangers get huge egos, decide to get lazy, decide they don't want to be Power Rangers anymore, and basically kick back and do nothing. Doggy Kruger, being the smart mentor, picks up on this and decides, no, the Rangers have to do it. The Rangers basically rely on the 6th Ranger. The 6th Ranger is gonna do everything for us. Then they get their asses kicked in battle because the 6th Ranger doesn't show up because he wants the Rangers to be on their A game. Yeah, not a good look for the Rangers in this one. Thank you, Shadow, thank you. This one came after like one of the best episodes of the series, and I get what they're kind of going for. It's kind of poking fun at how, oh, the 6th Ranger is the most badass Ranger. Why do we even need the team? Here the Rangers, all of them are pretty bad and kind of regress as characters. They decide, nah, I'm just gonna kick back, read my comics, watch TV, play video games. Sid is doing her makeup. Even Sky kind of out of character decides, you know what, you're right, Doggy Kruger can handle anything. He's the Shadow Ranger. And thank God Doggy Kruger calls them out at the end. Doggy Kruger dispatches them to a fight, and the Rangers are barely giving an effort here. They get their asses kicked, and Doggy refuses to step in because he's basically giving them tough love, teaching them that, no, just because I'm on your team doesn't mean I do all the work. You're still Power Rangers, you still have responsibility, you still have a friggin' job to do. The Rangers realize that, yeah, they have to be there, they have to work, they have to be, you know, Power Rangers protecting our universe. And the Rangers, of course, shape up, fight the evil monster of the week, and win at the end, apologizing to Doggy Kruger for taking him for granted. Yeah, this one did not make the Rangers look good. I know they learned their lesson and realized, yeah, we do have to work, we do have to be Power Rangers, but man, does it feel so random and makes you hate them. It's so random. After all these episodes highlighting their character development, they decide, no, let's just slack off and do nothing. We're gonna be playing Super Smash Brothers rather than saving our planet from invasion. Not a good look, going on bad. So, it is weird episode, like why this was bad, worse than Operation Overdrive. Yeah, the writers are definitely showing their overdrive in this one. So, Era Power come from acrobatic Silky, who is the Japanese version of the La Llorona, and her daughter gets kidnapped by the Yakuza. Yeah, you did mention that on one of our past videos. When she became a ghost, as she thinks Era is her daughter when she called her mommy. Okay. Yeah, this one, definitely not the Rangers at their best. It kind of makes you hate the Rangers in this one. Easily a weak episode, going on to bad. Best part is Doggy Kruger does call them out and give them their comeuppance. That's why Doggy Kruger is the best. Alright, next episode. Wired. Yeah, this is with the robot girl, right? Okay, this one actually is pretty good. I do have one problem with it, but we'll get to that soon. The Rangers get a new tech girl helping around the base. Meanwhile, Broodwing is finally becoming more of a threat. He and his team are like adapting their machines, making better robots. Is this the one with the orange head? Yeah, I thought it was. It had like the new orange head robots in one of the episodes. Okay, so yeah, basically, they need her help. They need this tech girl to help them out, and it turns out in a twist, the tech girl is a robot. This is her. She's a machine designed to look like a human. They never specify if she was always a robot or if she's half human, half robots. But yeah, she's basically ostracized because she's a machine, and the Rangers become full racist cops and kick her out. Another episode that's kind of not a good look for the Rangers. They find her like trying to patch herself up. She helped them in a Megazord battle. Then they find out she's like fixing parts of her circuits, revealing that she's a robot. I believe like Bridge had kind of a romance with her. Sophie, that's her name. Yeah, Piggy is also kind of a dick. He rats her out. The machine is actually a high-tech robot module who is upgrading Megazords. And of course, Grum and Broodwing want their hands on her. They want this robot girl, and in one of the stupidest moments ever, the Rangers fire her because she lied to them, and they go full racist cop mode. You're a machine, you're not a person, and the Rangers fire her from SPD. Kruger is very pissed because they did not have permission to do so, and now they have to find her. Broodwing and his friends manage to get their hands on her and wire her into their system to upgrade their evil Megazords. Now this one actually is a pretty good episode, but once again, the Rangers are kind of uncharacteristically jerks in this episode. As female robot like Danger from X-Men. It is, and it's also where they get... Okay, it is the orange head. Thank you, Shadow. And it's also where they get the Delta Command Zord, and also where Moira becomes Morgana in the end after her failure. Alright. Like the female robot. Yeah, Sophie. Okay, this is that episode I'm thinking of. Alright. Yeah, they fight the Orange Heads. The Orange Heads manage to capture Sophie. The Rangers kind of realize that, yeah, they took her for granted. They shouldn't have fired her so hastily, because Sophie's intelligent, wired mind actually gives the villains an edge here. The villains almost win in this episode, which is why it gets a lot of points. Like, Moira's using her and Broodwing's using her. They plug her into their system, have this huge upgraded mecha Megazord that almost crushes the Power Ranger Zords, but the Rangers see past their racism, realize that Sophie is a person who matters. They help save her. It's implied Bridge was developing romantic feelings for her. Kind of wish this went somewhere, but Sophie's only important in this two-parter. Would have been a much better twist if Sophie was actually the Nova Ranger, but we'll get to her later. They fight, they save Sophie, manage to unplug her, realize that her life is worth something, and Sophie helps upgrade the SPD Megazord into a Super Megazord. They fight the bad guys, defeat them, and apparently as Shadow points out, this is where Moira becomes Morgana. After they suffer another devastating setback, Moira is turned into an adult woman. Yeah, they never explain why Moira likes being a child. I believe she's afraid of growing up, and Grum is using his dark magic to de-age her, but they never really dive into it. Like, is Moira actually, like, making herself immortal through this way? Is she afraid of getting old, getting ugly, growing up? A lot of people also kind of preferred the Morgana form because she was legal. But yeah, she becomes Morgana at the end, and now Moira is old, but not by that much. Now that would have been a neat twist. Yeah, Sophie should have been the Nova Ranger. That's where I thought they were going with this. I thought she was going to become, you know, another Ranger in the future. Especially because they do a similar thing with Mac from Operation Overdrive. That's a topic for a later discussion. But yeah, Sophie honestly should have been the Nova Ranger. That would have been so interesting to see. But no, she kind of disappears after this. The Rangers save her, allow her to work in SPD again, and we never see her ever again. They kind of hinted that Bridge was going to ask her out or form a relationship with her, but no, it goes nowhere. We keep Bridge single so we can laugh at what a loser he is. Honestly, this episode is fairly good. Definitely changes the status quo a lot. We see the villains finally gain a lot more menace in this episode, like they did in Sam and the Shadow Ranger. Sophie's an actually interesting one-shot character, and the Power Rangers actually get called out on their short-sightedness. I think it's a pretty good one. Like she's the new Vision or Friday of SPD. So Morgana has Peter Pan syndrome. Kind of. They never really dive into it, but Morgana likes being Moira because she's a child. I guess it's a social commentary on how women don't like growing up. They don't want responsibilities. She wants playtime. She wants her child privileges. She doesn't like that she's growing older. Kind of like that. They like hint that there was like a deeper story there. I kind of question what her dynamic is with Grum though. Is she like his daughter, his wife, his weekend hoe? Never really go into it, but yeah, she becomes Morgana so we can give her a new design and sell more toys. What about Battleizer's tier list? Well, unfortunately I haven't seen every Ranger show, so that's a bit harder, Akira. Okay, so Sophie's episode Wired honestly isn't too bad. Has some issues here. I think the Power Rangers being racist is very out of character, but they do overcome it by the end. This one's definitely a good episode. Going on to A tier. Alright, next we get to the Orange Ranger. Yes, there's finally an Orange Ranger, and he doesn't exist. We get a episode spotlighting Boom. If you forgot, Boom is actually Dr. Cat's wacky assistant, and he's been lying to his parents, claiming to be a Power Ranger, the legendary Orange Ranger. And I do love that they just spray painted Andros' outfit orange. I'm kind of curious, is there a real Orange Ranger? I guess technically Cat might be that, but yeah, we do get this hilarious parody. There's an Orange Ranger, and Boom basically is lying to his parents. It's one of those episodes where, oh no, his little lie is snowballing into a whole bunch of bigger lies and landing him into trouble. The Rangers decide to help Boom by pretending, oh yeah, the Orange Ranger is real. He helps us all the time. Boom's always there training us to be better Rangers. And yeah, it's another wacky comedy episode. Okay, so depending on how you feel about Boom as a character, this is either one of the funniest episodes of this season or one of the cringiest. I always thought Boom was fine as a character. I was hoping he was going to become a real Power Ranger eventually, but that ended up not happening. Boom has like dreams where he's this cool Orange Ranger badass. Then when we cut to the real world, he gets us like this god-awful Comic-Con cosplay of the Orange Ranger, interrupts the Rangers in a serious battle with the Monster of the Week, and makes a fool of himself. He screws up their mission, the bad guy gets away with a super weapon, and he looks like a fool. There's actually this really sad moment where you do feel for Boom. He tells his parents he lied, he's a nobody, he's the assistant to a SPD doctor who actually builds the useful tech and weapons, tells his parents that he's a nobody, and he actually resigns and quits SPD in disgrace. He does take accountability for his screw-ups, tells Kruger that he's sorry but he has to leave because the mission's failure was all his fault. This, of course, leads to a message about being yourself, having faith in your own skills, mastering the great things you can actually do. Boom is not useless. He actually is a smart scientist. He catches on to the monster's technique, realizes the monster is portaling everywhere, and builds like a prototype portal gun to find where Sky and Jack are. Sky and Jack get portaled into a jigsaw room in the middle of nowhere, and Boom thinks he can find them by planting a device on the monster. And yeah, Boom has his moment, finally has a moment where he doesn't screw up and gets to be a hero. For a side character focused episode, it wasn't half bad, but that's mainly because Boom was a likable character overall. Yeah, Boom definitely has his funny moments. I was kind of hoping he was gonna become a Power Ranger also. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, and also they tease us for the Orange Ranger. Orange is like the one color we don't see in Power Rangers. That's what kind of made it funny, though. As Fern from Cosmic Fury is the Orange Female Ranger for the last series. Okay, we did get an Orange Ranger. Fun fact, Boom also played Mick in Power Rangers Ninja Steel. Oh, he did? Okay. Could I let you use Lady J versus Cammy White TN for your Lady J tier list? Yeah, you could, Akira. I want to see it, though, but it needs a bit more updating. It's just low resolution. Wolf passed by. Wolf, did you want to join the tier list? Not yet. Okay, we're on the Orange Ranger.
Boom should have been a Ranger.
He should have been. Yeah, Wolf agrees. Boom should have been a real Ranger. So, Boom gets his moment, he helps save the day, helps save Sky and Jack from the portal room, brings them back out, and they defeat the monster using his technology. Boom's parents are actually impressed, and he finally tells them who he really is, that he helps create tech the Power Rangers use, and the parents finally do give him some respect. Yet this one, honestly, is fairly good. I'm gonna put it under the birthday episode then. Boom is a very likable character. This one has funny moments, though I kind of like the serious moments. I like actually the sad dramatic scenes where Boom's reflecting on his life, where he tells Kruger that he quits because he was the one who failed them, he was the one who caused problems, took full responsibility for his screw up. This one's actually a pretty good episode, basically showing you that no matter how low you are, you're capable of great things, that you are a person who matters, that you do have talents, you can be useful, but it depends on the right situation. And honestly, that's a good lesson to teach kids. I do appreciate when Power Rangers does try to teach kids lessons, especially in good ways like this. Wish we got a real Orange Ranger, but this one ain't half bad. Going on to A tier. Alright, caught up on your comments. Alright, next one is this. Yeah, Boom. Recognition. Alright, got the body swap episode. We get an episode highlighting the Rangers' relationship with Sky. Once again, we're on a Sky episode. The Rangers capture a monster who's good at technology. He's one of Broodwing's friends / rivals, and the monster uses his super ability to body swap with Sky, the Blue Ranger. The Blue Ranger is trapped in a monster body that can't speak English, and the terrorist is now in a Power Ranger body. The Monster of the Week wants to use Sky to hijack SPD's Megazord, their giant building that turns into a super duper Megazord, while Sky's locked up in prison and has to use the alien's abilities to his own. He has to escape. And yeah, it's a good trust episode. This one's definitely an S tier one, going on the best. Alright, so remember this episode, guys? The body swap episode where Sky is inside the Monster of the Week. Sky definitely gets humbled a lot in this episode. He refuses to bond with the Rangers, shows like his character flaws, shows that he doesn't get along well with the Rangers, which makes it easy for the monster to pose as him. The monster switches roles with Sky, and we do get to see Sky's actor having a blast being an evil bad guy, being suspicious. He's sneaking around the SPD base, trying to find the control room that activates the super duper SPD Megazord. Yep, Wotox is a very cunning villain with his body swap abilities. Definitely an interesting one, and I would definitely say I liked this episode because it humbled Sky a lot. We see Sky is very arrogant, very antisocial, and he learns that he does need to rely on his teammates, that they do need to trust him a bit more, and he has to master his own strategies like this monster does. He can't speak English because the monster broke his universal translator. He breaks out of prison, has to fight his friends, has to communicate with them even though he can't speak and they can't understand him. It's a pretty good character-driven episode exploring Sky, showing that he is capable of being a ranger even when not in his own body, and we get to see evil Sky. There's also a really creepy scene where impersonator Sky goes into Z and Sid's room. I'm not sure why they were super triggered over this, but they act like he sexually harassed them or something. He enters their room trying to find the control room, and Sid tells him to get out. He just sneers evilly and walks off. Z and Sid realize there's something off with him, and it's kind of weird. They act like Sky committed some kind of vile crime. But no, he just entered their room without knowing it was their room. Sky finds the control room, nearly takes over. Sky, as the monster, uses his wits, fights with him, proves that it's really him in there, and they manage to swap bodies at the right time. Honestly, it's a pretty fun episode where Sky sees his flaws, he sees his friends, and he sees that he does have value among the team, but he needs to value his teammates too. The only reason he's able to swap his body is because Rick knows that Sky is inside the monster's body. They bring the dog out to sniff the one who's its best friend, and Sky gains an appreciation for Rick in here too. Rick detects that Sky's soul is inside the monster's body, exposing the villain. Yeah, Wotox, that's his name. like body swapped episodes as Power Rangers, Dino Fury, Samurai, and Mighty Morphin did the same. Yeah, I remember Kimberly became Rita Repulsa. That scene is like legendary. It's always memed, and you can find clips of it. Amy Jo Johnson does a really good Barbara Goodson impression. By the way, Clayface version in Clayface movies, Matt Hagen, then Basil Carlos. They chose Matt Hagen. Really? Then that means he better be a treasure hunter like he is in the comics. Okay, so Sky gets back in his body, fights the monster, and realizes he should trust his friends more, appreciate them, and he even hangs out with Rick. Realizes he should give Rick a chance. They play, and he accidentally breaks a window. Honestly, a pretty good episode. This is definitely one of the highlights for Sky. We see him adapt to situations, realize that he needs to change, and actually fight even when he's at his most helpless. Definitely a best episode, going on to S tier for sure. Like, it's a shame there is no female Clayface. In the comics, Akira, there is. She's called Lady Clay, or Lady Clayface. She is actually a pretty interesting character, but they never use her because people are more familiar with the male versions of Clayface. But yeah, there is a female version of her. Okay, Sky's episode, S tier. Next is the Samurai episode. Yep, get another Jack episode. Jack is having doubts about his skills as a Red Ranger. He's training with Doggy Kruger to become a better fencer, mastering his blade, and he believes that Doggy Kruger is better because he has the Shadow Saber. He wants Doggy Kruger's blade because his sword is more better than his lousy SPD red blade. Doggy Kruger is telling him, no, that's nonsense. The skill comes from the warrior, not the weapon he wields, and Jack doesn't see that lesson until the very end. Broodwing brings a samurai from the past, heavily implied to be one of the Ninja Storm episodes. Yeah, like, this is like one of the Ninja Storm era monsters. They pluck him out of the Ninja Storm time and have him arrive in modern day Japan, where he believes his temple was destroyed by SPD, and SPD must fight a samurai villain. Jack is trying to master his abilities. He wants to fight this guy, he keeps losing to him. The Monster of the Week is actually not evil, but morally gray. He's a protector monster of his temple, and Grum and Broodwing are manipulating him into believing that innocent civilians in SPD are the enemy, hence why he's fighting them. He does not kill Jack and he leaves him alive, causing Jack to realize this guy actually has a sense of honor. He's actually good. He has to gain his trust by besting him in a sword duel, and after many minutes of begging Doggy Kruger, Doggy decides, okay, you can take the Shadow Saber and fight. He gets a Shadow Saber, and spoilers, it's not the Shadow Saber, it's just an average blade Doggy Kruger picked up and made it look like a Shadow Saber. He uses this blade, and thanks to believing in himself, finally defeats the samurai. It's honestly a pretty cool kick-ass duel. Nice to see the samurai monster was noble and honorable. Always do like it when Power Ranger episodes do episodes like this, like with Loyax in Lost Galaxy, and the Wasp with a Heart, the Waspicable monster who befriended Cassie. Yet the monster is actually not evil. Jack fights him, proves he's an honorable warrior, and convinces him to return back to his timeline. They save the future Japan, and Jack finds out, oh, Doggy Kruger was actually testing him all along. It turns out he did not give him the Shadow Saber at all, it's just an ordinary sword. But he wanted to have Jack give himself self-confidence, wanted him to believe that he was a badass in order to achieve being a great badass. Honestly, a pretty good episode. Going on to low S tier for sure. Very interesting monster who's not full-blown evil. Jack gets a lot of character development, and Doggy Kruger, peak mentor figure here. Really appreciate Doggy teaching him a valuable lesson without being a hard ass on him. Yeah, Jack basically gains faith in himself and becomes a much more confident Red Ranger. Unfortunately, it would not stay that way by the end of the series, but regardless, this episode, definitely one of their best ones. Also, I made a Trachina versus Chrysalis from Miraculous. Okay. I'd love to see that one, Akira. I'd probably post that one on our community tab. Anyways, the samurai episode, not too shabby. Going on to the best one. Ah, boy. Another one of these episodes. Gotta remember the title. Samurai Dismissed. We meet Commander Kruger's boss, Birdie. Yep, here's Admiral Birdie or General Birdie, whatever he calls him, the bird alien. Birdie is showing up to give an inspection for SPD. And, of course, we have that guy who says, no, the Power Rangers are doing it wrong. Your methods suck. Let me implement my own ideas for SPD to make you better, which are really short-sighted and worse. Doggy Kruger gets put on probation, he is dismissed from SPD, and Birdie puts himself in charge to ruin SPD with his terrible rules and updates. Yeah, it's gonna be one of those episodes. There's always like one of these episodes in a Power Rangers story where the Power Rangers answer to a military order or big government, where Birdie comes in, shows up, and basically fucks up the Rangers. Yeah, Birdie is basically not half the leader Commander Kruger is. Doggy Kruger is much more competent. He points out that Birdie is being short-sighted. Birdie's having none of it and decides he's going to take charge of this place and shape SPD up to perfection. And basically, he epic fails. The Rangers are ordered to split apart. He says, oh, well, you're a Power Ranger. You should be able to handle a monster on your own. Breaks them into teams, breaks them into useless teams, has them follow really stupid orders, and they fail to defeat the monster of the week. This time, Emperor Grum shows up in his kick-ass motorcycle, challenging the Rangers to a fight. Yep, Grum gets his own cool speeder bike motorcycle, and he completely wrecks the Rangers. The Rangers are failing, Birdie's orders are completely backfiring, and Grum is demanding he kill the leader of SPD, Doggy Kruger. To Birdie's credit, he does actually take on Grum himself, but it's very clear he is not in the same league as Emperor Grum. Birdie decides to go fight Emperor Grum one-on-one and gets his feathers kicked. He's losing. Cat goes to Doggy Kruger, begs him to come back. Doggy Kruger, kind of being a stick in the mud, of giving up, refusing to break Birdie's orders, up until they tell him that Emperor Grum is challenging him personally, and if he doesn't intervene, Grum will kill people. The highlight of this episode was definitely Kruger versus Grum. Yeah, easily. Kruger, of course, gets his groove back, gets his self-confidence, and takes charge. Birdie pretty much loses here, is about to die, until the Shadow Ranger shows up, and we get our first modern fight between the Shadow Ranger and Emperor Grum, and yeah, it is pretty cool. This one is going on to okay, because I cannot stand Birdie. I think all you SPD fans agree with me. This guy was totally in the wrong, totally stupid, and caused so much problems for the Power Rangers. Birdie does get humbled by the end after the Shadow Ranger saves his life. Really kick-ass fight scene between Emperor Grum and the Shadow Ranger, where he breaks his motorcycle, and the Shadow Ranger gets that cool quad. Yeah, he gets a quad for his transportation. Really cool. And yeah, it's a pretty fun fight. Once again, I do love Doggy Kruger. He pretty much salvages all of this episode, but Birdie gets humbled, apologizes, and decides to re-give command to the Shadow Ranger. Doggy Kruger gets his badge back, and things are back to normal. Doggy Kruger puts up his tough front, tells him, are you on break? We still got work to do. But he's smiling, knowing that he cherishes SPD as his family, and it's good to be back. Honestly, it's not too bad an episode, but man, your tolerance for Birdie gets lower and lower throughout this one. Fun fact, Void Queen from Dino Fury is the villainess that gave a revealing design with a dress. Nice. Chrysalis arc isn't done, like we need to wait for the other 4 to 5 seasons to go. Oh man, really? As her Super Sentai version's name is Madame Noir. Birdie is so badass, how it made him general. Well, it's implied that Birdie is more of a frontline soldier than he is an actual field fighter. Yeah, Birdie is, oh no, I have that backwards. No, Birdie's more of an armchair commander. He gets stuff done. He's more of a bureaucrat, micromanaging everyone, than he is at actually fighting. He does have some prowess. He puts up a decent fight against Grum, but Grum is too OP. Birdie does become nicer as the series goes on, but this was not a good first impression of him. Also does have a funny ending too when Kruger comes back. Why are you all standing around? You should be doing your duties. Now get going. Whispers to Cat, it's good to be back. Yeah, I do like that. Kruger definitely cares about SPD, and this episode highlights that, yeah, Doggy Kruger is a key figure in the SPD team. This guy is much more competent than Birdie is. Really love that Doggy Kruger grows a spine by the end and stands up to Birdie. This episode, overall, I do think it's fine, but again, it's kind of the heroes causing unnecessary conflict to cause all the drama in this. Though, Birdie would get better as the show would go on. This one, I think is fine. Kruger versus Grum is definitely the highlight and the best part worth watching. Going on to mid-tier. Next one, are we on? Yes, we're on Perspective. The Power Rangers tries their own version of the Batman episode POV, where they all give their point of view on what happened in a mission gone wrong. So, the Power Rangers stop a monster from stealing all the gold in the Earth's gold reserve, and apparently something goes wrong. The monster's able to get away with the gold. He ends up defeated. The Power Rangers save like one security guard who was a witness, but apparently, something happened there that they don't have clear vision on. The Power Rangers experience something weird in this case, and Doggy and Cat are interviewing all the Rangers on what happened. And it's a comedy episode. All the Power Rangers give their different biased opinions, and once again, they're all on ego trips. Basically, they give a bunch of biased stories on how the mission went, and some things line up, and some things, like the Rangers' personalities, obviously don't. And it's basically the same joke 5 different times. They do this flashback 5 times, and each one, it's the Rangers acting out of character. Like, they're always praising each other. Jack is so awesome. Jack taught me everything I know. Sky is so cool. You're right, Sky. I should listen to you more. Sid's so cool. I wish I was as pretty as Sid. It's basically the same joke 5 different times. All the Rangers are hyping up the Ranger telling the story, and kind of shows you how egotistical and arrogant they all are. It's like, wow, I never would have done that without you, Z. It's so funny. The comedic filler episode of this series, yeah, it is. We need Mesogog's actor to play the lizard from Marvel Rivals. Yeah, he would be pretty good, honestly. We need Lego SPD Rangers Lego sets. Yeah, we got Lego Ninja Storm and Dino Thunder. I remember Wolf and I used to own those sets as kids. At least the cast definitely had fun acting out of character. Yeah, it's definitely funny. You could tell the cast was having fun acting either as the Ace Mary Sue cool person or one of their weird fanboys. They're always telling them how great they are or acting like they're the best in the room. And basically, none of their stories line up or give them answers. It turns out the security guard had footage of what really happened, and we find out what this all leads to. The Rangers actually fumbled this entire mission and barely won. They were saved by a ball of light. Yes, we finally get confirmation of Sam. Sam showed up in the Samurai episode, escaping from a time portal, but we didn't know what this meant yet. A ball of light showed up and saved the Power Rangers from epic failing, revealing that there's another Ranger or mysterious ally on the horizon. Honestly, this episode is going on to low okay. I just think it's kind of funny, but when they do the same joke 5 times, it gets kind of irritating. We get to see all of the Rangers acting out of character, which could be funny. I know it's a highlight seeing one of your favorite characters acting completely different, but man, did this feel like filler. The premise was really thin in this one, and they play the same fight scene, but with different dubbing 5 times. Yeah, they were definitely having fun. Marvel made a Marvel anime fighting game called Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. As we have Magic as playable. Yeah, a lot of people like Magic ever since Marvel Rivals. Wish she was better in the New Mutants, but what are you gonna do? Okay, so Perspective is just a goofy filler episode. Really comedic. The only thing plot heavy that happens is we're foreshadowing that Sam is coming in the next episode. This ball of light helps save the Power Rangers. The Power Rangers kind of get an ego check in this one, but there's a much better episode that also handles that subplot better. But now we're on to the episode people have been looking forward to, our 7th Ranger. Yep, it's Messenger. We meet Sam, the Omega Ranger. The Power Rangers are struggling to fight another new bad guy, only to be saved by a messenger from the future. Sam, Omega Ranger, force from the future. Get that, hardcore Power Ranger fans? Sam's episode is another A-tier episode. Yeah, I'll put it underneath the pilot, but above the Red Ranger Ego episode. Yeah, Christina V would be great as Black Cat. Yep, we have Sam, the Omega White Ranger. Okay, so Sam could have been an interesting character because they set the Omega Ranger up as kind of mysterious, very vague, from a future unknown. He traveled back in time to help save the Power Rangers by altering the course of history because, according to Time, the Power Rangers are going to die and the Truvian Empire will succeed at destroying SPD and the Earth, where the Omega Ranger comes in to tip the scales in their favor. It's pretty interesting. Sam is kind of upstaging the Power Rangers in this. The Rangers feel like they're inferior compared to him. He keeps bragging about how, oh, I have future technology, and it's almost a S-tier episode, but something seems to be missing. They're trying to do what Time Force did, like when Alex showed up and told them about terrible events to come, trying to appeal to anyone who grew up with Time Force, how, oh, I'm from the future, I'm better than you. Then he gets humbled and becomes a nicer guy. Sam, personality-wise, kind of felt like the voice actor was trying to feel like Zane, the Silver Ranger from In Space. That's at least the vibe I got off of him, but Sam ultimately gets no character. That's the big issue here. We know nothing about Sam, and it stays that way until the end of the series. Sigh. So I will say Messenger 2-parter is good with effective villains, and Omega Ranger was pretty awesome here. Unfortunately, after this episode, they did nothing with him. He's just there. As Linkara says, Sam is a ball of light. Moving on. Yeah, okay, so this episode is actually pretty good. We meet the Omega Ranger. He does have really kick-ass powers. He can slow down time. He catches laser bullets and sends them back at people. Has that really cool morpher that's like a motorcycle hand gear. And he has his own Megazord. Sam is pretty cool. The actor is definitely trying. Unfortunately, the writing completely fails this guy. We know nothing about him. And part 2 basically reveals who he is. He's Sam, all grown up. It's kind of a shame because Sam was more interesting when he was a child than he is as a grown adult Power Ranger. The show really failed this character, and even the producers kind of said in interviews that the only reason we even had the Omega Ranger was because we needed him for the Sentai footage. That is really what the creators said. He's there because we needed him for the Sentai footage. He's there in the footage we're using for the show, so we have to have an explanation to have him on board. And they were not interested in actually giving him a character arc, adding more depth to him, having him and Z kind of complement each other or help each other get better. He's just there, and for most of his scenes, he's a ball of light hanging out in the background. Like why I see Sam as the worst 6th Ranger, technically 7th Ranger, in past tier lists. Okay, that's the problem, Kira. Sam was boring. He had no personality, he had no character arc, he had no depth, and after this really epic 2-parter, they did nothing with him. The core 5 Rangers and Doggy Kruger are essentially enough for the show. Sam was just there because the producers needed him for that Sentai footage, and it's a real shame because his debut 2-parter is actually so good. He's really cool and kick-ass, helps save the day, and at the end he becomes an official team player working hand-in-hand with SPD. He gets humbled, realizes the SPD Rangers are still needed, realizes that he needs to join SPD as an equal and not act like he's the most powerful one on the team. And he never met his kid self, Kid Sam. Yeah, that is kind of a wasted plot, isn't it? Wouldn't it be so weird seeing Sam meet his child self, see how he's going to grow up to be more badass, or see how different he's become? That would have been an interesting story. As I say, Sam episode is good episode, but better than Miraculous's London special. Oh yeah, definitely. Or I'm sorry, I mean Spider-Man Edge of Time parody. Okay, so Messenger, honestly, on its own, is a fairly good episode. Really action-packed, gives the Omega Ranger a lot of cool moments, the Power Rangers show that they are needed, and basically having a new teammate adjust to this time period. A lot of loving tributes towards Time Force. Sam essentially acts like Zane if you count his personality. That's at least what the voice actor is going for. I get a lot of Zane, where he's the chill, cool dude of the team. Wish they did more with him, but his debut is fairly good. I'm gonna put it onto A tier, is definitely a highlight of SPD. Unfortunately, what came after was definitely not in the same league. Speaking of which, yeah, we get to the next one, Zapped. Oh boy, Zapped. Okay, so this one I do feel is a bit of a weaker episode. Once again, the Power Rangers are overreacting to a new Ranger on the team. The Rangers are once again in their absolute worst. They get jealous because Doggy Kruger is hanging out with the Omega Ranger more, and they feel like they're complacent, they're inferior, and that Doggy Kruger is gonna replace them with the cool kick-ass Omega Ranger. And basically, the Rangers act like a bunch of petty babies in this episode. I believe this is the Magician one. Yeah, it is. Okay, it is the stupid Magician one. Morgana approaches a magician, offers him real magic in exchange for a few favors, and honestly, I felt the writing behind the villain plot was also weak. Morgana gives this magician a real magic wand and convinces him and his assistant to go from street performers into being violent criminals, and honestly kind of felt sorry for this guy. He didn't want to be evil, found himself dragged into Emperor Grum's war, and he basically gets arrested because he's now a full-blown bad guy. Made me kind of feel sorry for him, but the Rangers are also pretty petty in this. The Rangers are afraid Sam is going to upstage them, so they try to take out the magician himself. Sid goes undercover to try to pose as a volunteer assistant, but gets brainwashed into being evil, and just when you think this is going to become really cool, they break the Pink Ranger's brainwashing by just morphing her. Yeah, it's so lame. After seeing how awesome the Steelix episode of Time Force was again, I was so disappointed we didn't get to see evil Pink Ranger. That was like one of the funnest moments with Jen. But no, Sid is evil for like a few seconds, acts brainwashed, and then Bridge just snaps her out of it by pushing her morpher button. Basically, Doggy Kruger finds out that the Power Rangers went against his orders and did this undercover mission on their own. They lied to him, they tried to upstage Sam, this team works together, defeats this magician, and Doggy Kruger chews them out, basically telling them, I expected better of you, I was only showing Sam more attention because I gotta get him adjusted to our time period. Yeah, basically, this all could have been avoided if they just talk things out, and the Rangers get reprimanded. They kind of build more trust with Sam, but once again, I do think the Rangers are at their worst, and I actually kind of felt sorry for this magician villain. He didn't want to be evil, he just wanted to improve his magic act, do real tricks, but no, he was corrupted by Morgana, and they send him to the same place they send all their bile terrorists. This one I'm afraid I have to put on a bad. It is a little bit better than the Rangers being lazy and depending on the Shadow Ranger, but it feels the exact same. Sigh, so I will say, I read that one. Sorry, reading comments. Since I see why it was on the worst Miraculous World special, since Tokyo is my S rank, since Stellar Force is the Power Rangers, I thought the China one was also half decent. Why couldn't Sam being Bunnix or future Trunks of SPD? That would have been more interesting, but apparently the writers were just not interested in him. Honestly, this episode reminded me way too much of the one where the Rangers are dependent on the Shadow Ranger. It's just kind of reverse, where the Rangers don't want to be dependent on the Omega Ranger and are jealous, acting like brats being upstaged. Definitely not them at their best, but we do get this cool Megazord. I believe the Omega Ranger and the SPD Zord become one, that's why this pick is here. But honestly, it is not that great an episode, going on to bad. As why monsters who aren't evil get to suffer by the main villain like in Zeo or Time Force. And don't forget Loyax. Yeah, there's always these interesting ones where there's some monsters who are not full-blown evil but were good people roped into a bad situation. Those are usually interesting Ranger episodes, I will say. Unfortunately, this one, not as good because we're supposed to enjoy this magician guy getting put to prison. Yeah, going on to bad. But next, we're on a good one. We're at Sky's episode. Reflection. Yes, this is Mirror Lock. This one going on to S tier for sure. It is a badass episode. Alright, getting some water. Okay, Reflection. This one, easily one of the top 5 best SPD episodes. This is an episode that really made me love Sky as a character. Mirlock, really creepy monster. Really huge status quo shaking events happen. The monsters seem to be coming back to attack the Power Rangers. We get to see villains from the past terrorizing the city, and it turns out these monsters are actually illusions being used by one of Grum's warriors. This evil chameleon-like monster is changing into villains from the past. Sky goes to talk to a monster who recognizes this villain's schemes, where we meet Mirlock. Mirlock is this really creepy Hannibal Lecter-like monster sitting in a dark, desolate cage where there are no reflections, no reflective surfaces, no mirrors, nothing that can cast a reflection. Even Sky has to wear sunglasses while talking to this guy because they can't risk it, since Mirlock is a mirror master. He has the ability to travel through glass and mirrors, and that's why he's sealed up tight, but they also need him because the monsters are actually reflections. As we need Blue Dino Thunder Ranger, Ethan's actor could play Miles Morales in Marvel Rivals. He could, since he could be perfect to be the voice actor than the live-action actor. Well, he's definitely older than Miles is now, but I could see him voicing him. Also, we see Sky's father is the Red Time Force Ranger. Yep, we finally get to dive into Sky. Mirlock was the monster who murdered Sky's father, making it very personal. Sky's father was apparently the Red Time Force Ranger, and this kind of confused me continuity-wise. I thought for sure this was Wes, that Sky was going to be Wes and Jen's son. This turned out to not be the case. Sky's father was a completely different guy who inherited the Red Time Force morpher, making it more confusing because this is happening in like the 2020s and not in the year 3000 when Time Force was the peak Power Ranger armor. Yep, Time Force and SPD share a universe. Pretty much all the Power Ranger shows share a universe. I heard the new one has to do a reboot because they can't do anything else with this continuity since it's so airtight now. Yeah, I thought the Red Time Force Ranger was Wes in this. We see Sky's dad is a Time Force Ranger, and it's why he's so obsessed with becoming a Red Ranger. He wants to follow in his father's footsteps. Sky gets a lot of character growth in this episode, is forced to face his past, is forced to, once again, overcome the tragedy that he's not the Red leader, that he's not Red Ranger, that he was not picked, and thinks less of himself throughout this episode. The Rangers are fighting this evil chameleon guy turning into monsters, but it turns out this is actually an insanely elaborate con planned out by Mirlock. He gives the Rangers information to defeat the chameleon monster, but he wants a favor from Sky. Sky tells him the saddest memory he's ever had, where he talks about the day he lost his dad. His dad was his hero. He thought he was invincible because he was the kick-ass Red Ranger, but his dad was killed in duty by Mirlock. And I kid you not, Sky sheds a single tear, which Mirlock uses the reflection of to escape prison. It is so insane, but such a creative scheme. I really love it. He morphs through the reflection of the tear Sky sheds, reliving his saddest memory. Mirlock is a collector of sorts, and it turns out this is all a part of his elaborate scheme. He escapes prison, returns to Emperor Grum, and offers him the Power Rangers, because Mirlock has the ability to trap them in mirrors. Yep, we're once again recycling a Lost Galaxies plot here. There was also a mirror monster in Lost Galaxy who trapped the Rangers in mirrors, and this time Mirlock can do this ability. As water is a mirror that you can drink, yep. People also think Z Delgado is Danny's daughter. I actually believe in that theory too, since Z has the same last name as Danny Delgado, the Wild Force Iron Bison Ranger. I actually like that idea that Danny and Z are actually related. Whether he's her father or distant relative is still kind of up in the air. But I would believe in that theory. I like seeing the Power Rangers are related to former Power Rangers. Yep, Time Force and SPD share a canon. So, I can only assume that they took the red Time Force morpher and put it back in a Volt, saving it for the year 3000, since that was the predestined time the Rangers had for it, but whatever. Yeah, he wants to become a Red Ranger, and we just see that Sky briefly gets to live that. Sky's overcoming his own personal demons, realizes that Mirlock is his arch nemesis, half the Rangers get trapped in mirrors, Sky and Sam the Omega Ranger work together to trick Mirlock into releasing all the other Rangers. Big epic battle, and we get to the highlight of this. Jack allows Sky to use his red morpher and battleizer armor to slay the monster. Mirlock is pretty vicious, very creepy, very cunning, and ultra badass. He almost defeats the Rangers until Sky and the Omega Ranger outsmart him, where Jack lends him the red morpher, where Sky finally gets to be the Red Ranger. He fights Mirlock and defeats and kills the guy who murdered his dad. Mirlock is captured, Sky gets his sense of justice, and Sky really grows as a character here. Yeah, I love Reflections. Awesome that Sky actually comes face to face with Mirlock, his father's killer. And Mirlock is a really cool one-shot villain. Not gonna lie, this guy was really cool, really clever, cold, calculating. Reminded me of kind of Hannibal Lecter, especially with the scenes where he's being interviewed in his cage. That was really cool stuff. Yeah, Sky fought monster Hannibal Lecter. Really cool stuff. Definitely one of the best episodes of the series, and pretty much cemented my love for Sky, since Sky undergoes a lot of growth here. Finally gets to be the Red Ranger, since tragically Sky's actor would not return for once a Ranger, even though he was planned to. Sky, heroes come in all colors. Yeah, classic line. Why no one did the Power Rangers timeline? People have Akira. Unfortunately, Ranger continuity has become very cluttered, even back in the Disney era. Honestly, I would argue even in the Saban era, because Lost Galaxy was supposed to take place in the not too distant future, and that's now been retconned to the late 90s. Yeah, remember how we had TerraVenture technology in the 90s? Yeah, Power Rangers and continuity have become messy, and both Disney and Nickelodeon did not make it easier to comprehend. Yeah, Sky, heroes come in all colors. Sky gets his moment becoming the Red Ranger, even if briefly, uses the battleizer armor to defeat his father's killer, and he finally gains a sense of closure. Yeah, this episode, it is awesome. It is one of the best Blue Ranger episodes. Sky really grows, get a lot of heavy emotional moments, interesting characters. Mirlock is an epic one-shot villain, really cool scenes, very heavy quotes, definitely an S-tier masterpiece. This one, easily on the best. Yeah, okay guys, almost at the end, got a few episodes left. Next, we're on another two-parter already, I believe. Yeah, is it SWAT? Yeah, I think that's Silverback. Let me just check. After Reflections, we're on SWAT. Okay, on to another pretty good episode, honestly. We're on SWAT. Yeah, this one, to wrap up Sky's episode, S-tier masterpiece, easily my top 5 favorites. And speaking of which, now we're on the SWAT. The Rangers get a power-up. So, rather out of character once again, the Rangers are now struggling as a team and they all don't like each other. The Power Rangers have once again gotten very egotistical, very lazy or slacking off, and are now at each other's throats. The Rangers are having trust issues, fighting each other, being bad roommates, that like. Yeah, the Sky's trying to build model ships and the two guys are fighting and accidentally destroy them. Z and Sid are being petty roommates, arguing with one another. Z doesn't clean her room, takes Sid's stuff. Sid is very peppy and annoying to Z. They all are pretty much very bad roommates at this point. They finally struggle in the battlefield. Emperor Grum gains a victory here, and Kruger, very pissed off, dispatches the team to SWAT training to kick their asses into shape. As I watch Queen of the Dread Zone episode from Miraculous is the second worst episode of season 6. Like, why is Chloe power is powerful in a ripoff of Vez Queen from Pokemon and Sinestro. Okay, so anyways, SWAT team, they're dispatched to an alien planet to be kicked into shape by Silverback, where we get to see Doggy Kruger's actor in heavy Monkey Man makeup, looking like one of the Planet of the Apes, honestly. Yeah, Doggy Kruger is now Dr. Sayers. Dr. Sayers, Dr. Sayers. Oh, Dr. Sayers. Yeah, I got that. Okay. The team goes to boot camp to be taught to be SWAT officers. The Power Rangers undergo training from hell. They're here in the desert, as you can see, forced to go on a lot of mile-long hikes across the desert, and are being tested by Silverback to build trust in one another. The Rangers very much epic fail horribly throughout this entire boot camp because they don't like or trust one another. Meanwhile, on planet Earth, villains who are best friends with Piggy gain access to SWAT armor. Kat is building the new advanced SWAT armor, and she is making a deal with Piggy for some technology to help upgrade it, only to be eavesdropped in, overheard by two sketchy characters. These sketchy characters find out SPD is building a new super armor and break in while there's no Power Rangers, successfully stealing the blueprints to create super duper evil SWAT armor. Yeah, these two wacky alien guys end up creating their own iron suits and go on a rampage because there's no Power Rangers. Kat realizes they were hacked, and now they need the Power Rangers more than ever. Meanwhile, the Rangers are struggling on boot camp. It's SWAT, where they all get their power-up-ish battleizers, basically. While they do bicker and feel kind of off-character with what they've gone through, so far the episode saving grace is Silverback toughening them up. Yeah, I will say, we are mercifully on the last episode where the Rangers are egotistical brats. I was kind of afraid this would be a thing on the show. The Rangers act immature and bratty because the plot demands it. Thankfully, this is the last one. The Rangers undergo training from hell. They go their separate ways at one point, almost fail boot camp. They beg Silverback, please give us one last chance. We'll do whatever it takes to become Power Rangers again. Silverback reluctantly allows them, sends them on another hike across dangerous terrain, and the Power Rangers finally grow up. They finally realize we can't do this alone, we can't be solo, we have to rely on and trust one another. Silverback basically gives them a secret test of character, where after they fight and go their separate ways, they end up reuniting, realizing that I do care about you. Even though you drive me nuts, you're still my friend, you're my teammate. All the Rangers apologize for the nastiness that was in between them, and unite to defeat a bunch of prototype villains in the training simulation. For the first time, the Rangers finally stand together as a team, united, fight as one, kind of become Power Ranger Avengers. Silverback congratulates them and tells them they passed the test. They pass the test, that now they're ready for their SWAT armor. The Rangers return, now gaining their Battleizer upgrades. Technically, the Red Ranger already had a Battleizer, but now they all have SWAT armor mode. They get super suits and defeat the wacky alien guys in their iron suits, proving that their teamwork has finally come. Their teamwork is finally perfect. They finally trust and love one another, and they're able to use SWAT tactics, taking down the two evil guys. As if Thomas Asterix's hate for Chloe, why not erase her, give her the Final Destination treatment? They should. As my sisters say, it can't make it since Bloodline logic, as is the Dino Thunder and SPD crossover. Yeah, that one comes up next. So, Ironmonger logic in Iron Man movie, yeah, basically, they fight in, like, iron suits. They fight these two guys, work together, gain a SWAT mode on the Megazord, and they finally kick ass together. The Power Rangers are finally united as a team, and this one finally addresses the problem that the Rangers have had throughout this entire series, that they're all kind of immature, very egotistical, and very bratty. Here, they come together as a team and shape up to become SWAT officers, and are now finally united as a truly united team. This one I will put onto A tier. Yeah, I'll put it under Drew's betrayal. This one I thought was a pretty good one. Not my favorites because, once again, the Rangers kind of backpedal on their character development just to make this happen. That's really the only thing I hate about it. The Rangers are not usually this petty or childish. Like, seriously, they're all like fighting like brats straight out of Operation Overdrive. Like, hey, Z, what would be worse, having Piggy as a roommate or having Morning Breath forever? I already have Piggy as a roommate. She's like shunning Sid. Oh, and by coincidence, you also have Morning Breath. Oh, they're all like making fun of her, acting like bullies and brats. I am very glad this part of their character arc was over. Seeing the Rangers finally become competent Rangers, very mature, trusting one another, and finally laying off insulting one another was definitely a huge step up. Silverback's a pretty fun character, and we get to see Doggy Kruger's actor without the heavy dog mask on. Really cool episode, and that SWAT armor is really kick-ass. Good, but I do wish the Rangers weren't at their worst at the start. Going on to A tier. Yeah. Okay, I could use SWAT Armor Battleizer as S or A rank if we get a Battleizer tier list. Oh, definitely S tier. The SWAT Armor is really kick-ass. Made the Rangers actually look unstoppable. I do kind of prefer other Battleizer armor over theirs, but definitely not bad. Going on to A tier. Alright, what's the next one? Is it? Yes, it's Robot Palooza. Okay, so finally getting a focus episode on the villain Starscream Broodwing. Broodwing has been growing very pissed off because Grum is basically a bad client for him. He's giving him like $1 billion worth of technology, and the technology is pretty much failing. Grum has grown disappointed with Broodwing's tech, and is demanding he give it to him for free, as compensation for all the money he's been wasting on him. Broodwing, feeling betrayed, decides to finally strike back at Grum. He goes to a bunch of 3 illegal businessmen who have profited off of his weapons technology, convincing them to help him kill the Power Rangers. Yes, Broodwing is finally becoming the Team Starscream. They try so hard to make this guy kind of like Frax or Deviant or Olympius, and Broodwing's not the worst character, but I have seen much better takes on this archetype. We get Robot Palooza. I believe this is another Megazord-centric episode. Yeah, that's right, they get the SWAT flyers. Okay, and the SWAT Megazord, how could I forget? Yeah, here's the SWAT Megazord. Once again, we get a Megazord upgrade. They're fighting Broodwing's goons, who owe him favors, basically committing crimes on his behalf. Broodwing is hatching his own scheme to kill SPD and kill Emperor Grum at the same time, using these guys to steal a bunch of technology and ingredients he needs to concoct his plan. And it's basically a big Megazord brawl. The team now have SWAT armor, they fight advanced Megazords and realize their Megazord needs an update too, where we get the SWAT Megazord. The SWAT Megazord fights 3 Megazords at the same time, and yeah, it's a big kaiju battle. That's the big highlight of this episode. I would say it's another pretty awesome one. I do wish Broodwing became a better character, but I'm gonna put this one onto good. Alright, Broodwing was actually a pretty fascinating character from the start. I do really like his design. He was initially a funny, comic relief right-hand man, until a few failures on his half and Emperor Grum's abuse caused him to turn against him. Broodwing would slowly rise up as his own Starscream, planning to backstab Emperor Grum, and planning to kill the Rangers his own way. They try to hype him up like he's gonna become some huge character, but I'm sorry, but it was just done a lot better on other shows. I do prefer characters like Deviant, characters like Olympius, and especially Frax. Frax has not been outclassed no matter how many times they kept trying. Broodwing was an interesting attempt at it. I'm not saying we can't give kids another one of these characters, but I wish there was a bit more depth to him, a lot more gravitas. Broodwing does have some menace here. We see he's very influential, but he's more so a corrupt businessman and a mad scientist, rather than a full-blown genocidal warlord like Emperor Grum is. As Broodwing looks like future version of Man-Bat, yeah, kinda, but with a Mr. Freeze hat. I'm alright. Unfortunately, got some good news and bad news. Okay, give us the bad news first and the good news saga. as only Lord Zed and Mesogog as the American-only villains that didn't show up in the Super Sentai. Yeah, that's a shame. Really wanted to see Lord Zed get in a kick-ass fight. When are we gonna have the villains of Power Rangers tier list? Oh, you're talking main villains? I do have to watch a few other shows. I'm sorry, I know it's taking forever, but what can I say? Power Rangers has like 30 years of content, guys. Give me a break. Sorry, just staying rehydrated because it is pretty hot. The good news is I watched Pokemon the movie 2000. Awesome! The Power of One for its 26th anniversary. Pretty cool. In the DVD releases, scenes usually take place after a commercial break, which is of course cut. But for some reason, scenes take place way before it even occurs. Yeah, I blame that on whoever made it. Whoever edited that. Okay, so we got a huge robot brawl. Megazords upgrading. 3 Megazords versus 1 Megazord. 4 Megazords versus 3 Megazords. Whole bunch of robot palooza, basically. Broodwing loses out here. All his clients and financial backers end up dying because they piloted their Megazords. And basically, we get the SWAT Megazord for SPD, which does look pretty cool. This episode is pretty fun. If you love the giant monster battles, then it is totally for you. I do think it's a pretty good one, but it didn't really make me see Broodwing as all that hot a villain. He has his moments where he's legit threatening, does have some huge influence here, but ultimately, I do think he falls under the shadow of a lot of kick-ass villains that came prior. And the bad news, all the tokusatsu shows were taken down, but unfortunately I can't watch Giban, Kamen Rider, WV3, Saber Force, Revive, Build, Go Rangers, and Winspectors. They've been taken down. Aw, that sucks. Well, thank goodness YouTube has made the Power Rangers public. Queen Machina had also come up with the idea back in Zeo, There's No Business Like Snow Business. But wasn't that one also one of the most infamously hated episodes? This episode breaks a record. This episode used giant mecha footage from 4 episodes from Deca Ranger, while 3 preceding episodes used less. All tokusatsu websites were taken down, and now I can't watch any Toku shows anymore. I was only able to watch Ranger and Go-Go 5s is on Pluto and Ultraman Cosmos YouTube. Have you tried Tubi? They might have it, but they might not. I know Tubi has all the Power Ranger shows up to the Nick era. Okay, so back to Robot Palooza. Honestly, it's a fun Megazord episode, but not really hyping up Broodwing all that well. That's why it's on A tier. I think it's good, but could have been better. Definitely a fun Megazord brawl, though. Alright, finally on one of my favorite episodes of the series, Catastrophe, the episode named after me. Finally get a Dr. Cat episode. Yeah, that's a bad episode from Zeo, mainly because it went nowhere. That's right. Thank you, Shadow. I also thought it was bad because of the child actress who wanted to sing her Christmas song, and it takes up like 5 minutes of episode. As maybe Kiss Asian have it. They might. They don't have any of them. Oh, that sucks. I know they have regular Power Rangers. Alright, so Catastrophe. Yeah, best episode of the series. I really love it. Finally got our sexy Cat Girl Ranger. We get an episode spotlighting Dr. Cat. Cat has been asked by General Birdie to come work for them and the higher-ups of SPD. Cat is on the fence about it, but all the Rangers, in a kind of confusing move, want to cheer her up by showing Cat that they don't need her. They don't need to rely on her. They don't want Cat to go working for this new team, but they also don't want to feel like they're holding her back. I guess they show that they care about Cat as a friend and want her to improve her career, but Cat is actually fine and happy working for SPD. But Boom and the Rangers show that they can do jobs without her, causing Cat to think that she's actually useless and the team doesn't need her anymore. So Cat agrees to work with General Birdie. Meanwhile, Broodwing, in another scheme to kill the Rangers and General Grum, is working with Cat's former rival from college, Mooney. Yeah, that weird moon man alien. I think they were inspired by Mac tonight, I swear. But yeah, Mooney is working with Broodwing. He's built a new super death machine that can squash those Power Rangers, and finally upstage his rival, Dr. Cat Manx. Cat goes working for Birdie, and in a similar subplot to like Damon's story from Lost Galaxy, she doesn't like it. She does not like working here. She has a team doing all the work for her. She doesn't have to get her hands dirty, but she actually likes getting dirty. She basically sits in an office all alone, doing nothing but filing the paperwork. Cat does not like this promotion and kind of considers it a demotion. However, the Rangers seem to be managing so much without her. Cat realizes that her nemesis Mooney is operating this death machine. They're fighting this super duper evil giant robot. Broodwing is about to kill the Rangers, where we get to why this is the best episode ever. Cat decides she wants to get involved and save the Rangers, go defeat Broodwing and Mooney herself with her own 2 claws, where she gets the Cat Ranger Morpher. Yep, here she is as a sexy cat girl ranger. Yeah, we get to see a cat girl Power Ranger, and she is really kick-ass. Cat should have been a ranger full-time. She should have been a permanent team member, but it is so awesome. She uses her cat girl powers to kick ass, kill a bunch of Crybots, and defeat Mooney and Broodwing. Yeah, right. Yeah, Cat is supposed to be a Swan Ranger because that's the original Ranger design. It's supposed to be a swan, but honestly I kind of do understand why the American production saw it as a cat. She has like those huge like cat-like ears. Really cool. Michelle Langstrom really rocks that outfit, really kicks ass. Love her abilities, how she launches like a bunch of piercing arrows from the feathers. Yeah, her Deca counterpart is supposed to be a swan alien. She was a Swan Ranger. There's a time for talk and a time for action. Yeah, I get a sexy cat girl ranger. I tried everything, but I couldn't, and it makes me sad. Yeah, buy physical media, folks. I agree, Saga. That sucks, but I'm sure you'll be able to find it somewhere. Copyright is just trying to kill everything fun. As waiting for Grey DeLisle as a Dr. Cat actress. Yeah, Grey DeLisle could voice her. It'd be pretty funny. Though, of course, I would still pick Michelle Langstrom if she was available and willing to voice Dr. Cat in a game. But yeah, Grey DeLisle would be pretty funny as a Cat Girl Ranger. Few days will be the anniversary of The Simpsons movie. Okay, now I gotta see that again. The name of the episode shares a name with a monster that appeared in Mighty Morphin. I'm sure it did. In Season 3. And on August, there's a lot of movies turning old. Like the 4th will be the 31st anniversary of Babe. You know, the movie with the pig. Yeah, I remember that. I got you, Babe. 27th anniversary of the Iron Giant on the 6th. Ooh, cool. Cat's actress was also in Xena episode Who's Gherkin as Lana. Yeah, she was. Heavily recommend watching her Xena appearance, folks, because you get to see Dr. Cat's rear. Yeah, it's true. Michelle Langstrom was in Xena Warrior Princess. Apparently the episode Who's Gherkin, she's Lana, and we get to see Dr. Cat's nice tail. 25th anniversary of Osmosis Jones on the 10th. Cool. So before Absolute Catwoman, where we get a series soon. SPD is a mixed bag. Hey, Tails, you're back. And on the 13th will be the 22nd anniversary of Yu-Gi-Oh! The movie, The Pyramid of Light. I haven't seen that in forever. Could we see or use Daphne Blake's voice for Catwoman or Dr. Cat? Yeah, I could see that happening, honestly. Okay, so, yeah, the Cat Girl Ranger, really kick-ass. She's hot, she's badass, has great weapons, and she saves the day. She dismantles Mooney's device, scares Broodwing away, and helps the Rangers take down his super death machine. Unfortunately, the Morpher only works for 1 hour, so Dr. Cat is back to her normal self.
expect you to be this far along.
Oh, hey, Wolf's finally here. Yeah, where have you been, Wolf? We're on Catastrophe.
Yeah,
We're on the
I hear.
final string.
Jeez.
What did you think of Catgirl Ranger?
I am sad that it was only for the 1 hour limit. Because also, her suit kind of has like the orange accents to it, so that's the closest we get to the Orange Ranger that was teased earlier.
Didn't like Boom.
I
in his
wanted Boom to be a
cosplay.
ranger.
I did too. Well, we get Dr. Cat as a
Right.
ranger for 1 hour.
I know,
One
right?
episode, and honestly, I thought she was really cool.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know me, I love sexy cat women, and one of
Right.
them being a ranger is definitely epic.
Yeah, it's also a decent exploration of her character since she's being pulled away from the place she basically calls home.
Right, she likes working for SPD, and at the end of the episode, after she saves her friends, she resigns from Birdie's command and wants to retransfer back to her home base. She returns, and Boom has like that hilarious meltdown where things are falling apart without you, Cat, we need you.
Yeah.
And yeah, Cat's back, they welcome her. Cat is basically the team mom. They all love her, they all look up to her, they all listen to her, and realize that, yeah, we do like having Cat around here at SPD.
Right.
One of her best episodes. I wish she was a full-time ranger
Right.
so badly.
God. Or even just came back for the finale fight.
Right.
That would have been cool.
Did you hear, Wolf, there's gonna be the 22nd anniversary for the Pyramid of Light Yu-Gi-Oh movie?
Oh, I did not know they were going to do anything special for that.
Apparently they are. You could say it's a Pokemon free day. There's no Pokemon anniversary in August. Okay. Would Grey DeLisle be a good voice for Dr. Cat in a Ranger video game?
She'd be fine.
Just doing her Catwoman.
Yeah, of her 3 voices she has, I think one of them could come close at least.
I think she would do her Dr. Holiday voice from
Probably.
Generator Rex, though. That's Dr. Cat's persona.
Right.
Speaking of SPD, I remember watching this a lot when I was little on Netflix on the computer at my late Nana's old trailer van. And I remember getting a coloring book of SPD at Dollar Tree.
Aw, nice.
Hi, Wolf.
Hello.
Yeah, Wolf's here. Hey, Kira. Yeah, the Cat Ranger, I think this is an S tier episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know me. Really like it. Wolf, if you missed it, we have the Shadow Rangers debut.
Of
the Mirror episode where they fought in Mirrorlock Skies episode. That was great. Z saving Sam from Moira and her doll
Right.
collection. That was great. The Body Swap episode is on here.
Yeah, I overheard that one.
Right, and the Samurai episode where Jack uses a regular blade to best the Samurai.
Yeah.
So far, only a few bad episodes. The Pink Ranger and Rick's episode is so far the worst, because I did not like her in that.
Fair enough.
How did you feel about
I
it?
thought it was fine. It was really nice to see her come around on Rick and be the only one defending him and also pushing herself through rain and mud to do it when
It was
she's
a good
the, like,
character
prissy.
moment, but she just resets
I
back to
know.
default.
That's what hurts a lot of these.
Right. Okay, so Cat's episode, S tier, might be my number 1, but we'll see. This can definitely change because we're getting up to some good and bad episodes in the last stretch.
God, I already
Made-
see the next one.
Made it to last string. After this one came Missing. That's right, this is where Bridge is sent into the jigsaw room.
The one where I feel like he phones in the performance, honestly.
Didn't like this one.
I don't like the actor's performance for Bridge. It feels so much like less energized than normal.
They're fighting that guy who wants to be a grandmaster. He's like besting all their forces. Kills General Grum's men, so he's a pretty badass.
Right.
He fights Bridge, but rather randomly decides instead of killing him, I'm gonna dump you in this jigsaw room in the middle of nowhere. And Bridge and Jack gain kind of a friendship understanding of each other, where he's trying to find him and save him before the walls close in and kill him.
Yep.
This one I thought was honestly kind of middling. Okay,
Yeah.
it's a bad.
It's nothing special.
It's a total filler episode, and we're on like the home stretch of episodes.
Right.
We're getting like one more, Bridge is a weird lol XD dumbass kind of character.
Right. I feel like the other Bridge episodes with the method to his madness stuff were much better.
Yeah, I do too, but Jack is like gaining like a friendship moment with him. He saves him, tracks him down, saves him at the last second, and the two unite to defeat the monster. I do like how when he's being judged on Judgment Mode, he's like, but wait, I was going to be a Grand Master. That's not gonna hold up. So yeah, what did you expect?
I love some of those moments.
Where the monster tries to say, but wait, I was innocent.
Right. Or like, he did it too. Like, it's the most nonsensical things.
I know. It's so random. Honestly, I might put this one on low, okay? Or do you want it lower?
Honestly, I think in the bad.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I'll put it on top
Again,
of the bad.
I feel like Bridge actor this episode was not caring.
Right.
Really.
Yeah, he kind of did phone it in a few scenes. Like, walking around being monotone.
Yeah.
It's kind of a shame, because people tell me this guy is, like, a really good actor and things.
Either it must have been before it, or he just wasn't feeling it.
Right. Alright, next we're on the crossover event. SPD meets Dino Thunder. Power Rangers roar. Power Rangers soar. Dino Thunder meets SPD. So, once again, we get a Broodwing episode. Broodwing discovers there's a wormhole, and he wants the Dino Crystals for his new death machine. They teleport 3 of the Dino Thunder Rangers into the future.
Main trio.
Yeah. Yeah, choked on my spit. Yeah, get the Dino Thunder Rangers, Connor, Ethan, and Kira. They're teleported to the future. And they meet SPD, where they fight them, manage to escape some Crybots. Broodwing wants their Dino Crystals for his death machine. He wants to take them from him. They manage to get their hands on them, and they meet SPD, where SPD sidelines them for most of this crossover. They call him like, oh, you're old, you're obsolete, you're not Power Rangers anymore, we're the professionals here.
We've been fighting these guys all this time. You don't know anything about them, so you're not skilled enough to handle them.
Yeah, and basically telling the Dino Rangers, their Dino Thunder Rangers to screw off, stay put.
Right, even though at the same time Connor keeps going, no, we should be there helping them. They clearly need it.
I know. I do like that we see where the Dino Thunder Rangers are now. They tell what they've been doing. Ethan's becoming like a scientist turned CEO with his new technology. He's gonna become the Steve Jobs of Power Rangers.
Right.
Kira is now a professional singer. This was her arc in the old show, Wolf.
Right.
She was like a wannabe rock star. She's finally succeeding now. She's become successful, and Connor's founded a children's soccer team. He's like doing a soccer league, basically.
Okay.
He was the jock of the group.
Yeah,
kind of gets humbled.
That seems like it.
Right. Basically, we do see where they are now. They've grown as Rangers. They want to get back in the battle, but they're like, no, you can't. And Grum and Morgana actually get involved in the fight, I remember.
Yeah.
Where it's basically building up to, what else? The two teams battling side by side. That's what all these crossovers do. And Wolf, would you believe it if I told you that this was kind of a polarizing episode of SPD?
I'm curious the reasons why, aside from them, of course, sidelining Dino Thunder for the majority.
That was a big one. People do not like that the Dino Thunder Rangers are basically on standby and being disrespected by the SPD team.
Yeah.
Yeah, they felt like, oh, SPD was back in their arrogant ego mode.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
really stupid not trusting other Rangers, even though history says that two Ranger teams coming together is a good thing.
Right.
Right, and honestly, the Dino Thunder Rangers did not really have much input on the plot. Like, compare this to some other crossovers, Wolf, like Trakina's Revenge, or the Psycho Rangers Return.
God.
Or Wild Force meets Time Force, where we got some more character development for some of the team members.
Like Jen.
Ranzik actually becomes good guy in this one.
They close off Ranzik's character, which I still don't agree with.
Right, you didn't like that.
I don't like that he becomes human.
That's for another tier list. Yeah, I hope you show up to that one too. But yeah, compared to this to other crossovers, here it's like a one and done episode. It feels so fast, and some people also unfavorably compare it to Time for Lightspeed, which rushed through a lot.
I could see that.
Right? It's like, we see the Rangers are more involved in the plot, but are told not to do anything.
Right.
And that's the big problem. They spend more time fighting each other than the actual villains, and then they just have a big epic fight scene where they come together. What a shock. The Dino Thunder Rangers were useful.
Right.
Yeah, Cat fixed their morphers. This is kind of confusing, Wolf, because in Dino Thunder, they lost the power, and now suddenly they got the power back in this.
I assume it's because they also kept the crystals with them, so it just kind of, like, reconnected with them.
Right, but
I don't know how Dino Thunder works.
This is kind of like starting a trend where some Rangers who completely lost their power would suddenly get it back for a crossover. Yeah, this definitely had it. So, the Dino Thunder Rangers and SPD work together. They fight Grum and Morgana, get the girls fighting the girl, get all the guys in their vehicles, big badass fight scene, and they manage to scare Grum and Morgana away. However, it's not over yet. They have to get them back through the wormhole, and they erase their memory, sending them back the second they got plucked out of the timeline.
Yep.
And it felt kind of lackluster.
Definitely.
Yeah, that was kind of my problem. There weren't many moments where the Rangers were like bonding, interacting, and that's what people love about the crossovers.
Right, you get to see two different sets meet and talk about like their own lives, connect in different ways.
You're right.
Of course, butt heads maybe. But like, yeah, there's so much potential for grabbing two casts of different shows together.
Like, people love seeing the two Ranger teams interacting, seeing their villains interacting, seeing them come together for like a monumentally huge threat, and Grimm's just doing like another generic invasion in this. In this, they fight a bunch of expendable robots.
That's right. This is like the first time it starts becoming more of a war, where it's like, oh yeah, let's send like 50 of these Crybots out.
Right, getting more of that. Honestly, I might put this one on the worst, but what about you?
I could see that, honestly.
Like, it's just not a good crossover.
And even as an episode compared to other things, yeah.
Right. Watching people talk about, you watch Generator Rex? Yeah, have you watched Generator Rex, Wolf?
I mean, I caught like a few episodes growing up.
Right.
Like, I didn't fully watch it. I want to rewatch it, though.
Yeah, I heard it was pretty good.
Yeah.
I do know some of the characters and familiarize with some of them. I recognize John DiMaggio and Grey DeLisle instantly.
Yeah,
so.
plus it's another Man of Action project, and their art throughout like the entire thing is phenomenal. My God.
Would you watch Earth's Mightiest Heroes since Man of Action worked on that?
They did?
In the second season, yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll just start there then.
See your favorite Jennifer Hale back. Okay, Dino Thunder crossover. It's not good. Going on to F tier.
But what about the second time?
Yeah, Impact. Yeah, they moved that one here for some reason. Here it is,
That
all
is
their
weird.
colors. Yet another crossover of Dino Thunder, and honestly, it's not good. It's slightly better.
Yeah, we finally get the full team this time.
Yeah, this time, Grum travels back in time, and this time, the SPD team goes back to the past. They're invading Reefside High, and we get to see Zeltrax. He's the right-hand man to Mesogog from Dino Thunder, and I do not like it because Zeltrax basically gets bitch-slapped into serving him.
Honestly, yeah.
Zeltrax is actually a pretty badass villain in Dino Thunder. He was kind of Mesogog's Starscream. He was threatening, he was cunning, he was lethal. And here, he's like turned into a complete puss. Grum beats Zeltrax into submission. Oh, I'll do whatever you say, just don't hurt me. And we're gonna combine forces to kill the Power Rangers together. SPD time travels, and this time we get to meet the whole team. The trio are now there with Trent, the White Dino Thunder Ranger, and Tommy shows up, but only in his suit with Jason David Frank voicing him.
Right.
Because we couldn't afford to get him back. And basically it's another team up where they fight a bunch of robots. That's really all that happens, isn't it? They're like exploring the past, trying to like find something, and Grum, Morgana, and Zeltrax have both their henchmen. They're fighting the Tyrannodrones and the Crybots, and it's another just big badass fight scene.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like the Rangers connect with them all that much.
No.
I like barely remember any interaction that was meaningful between them.
Right. I guess the action's fine enough, though.
Yeah, the action is definitely
nice.
good. We get to see all of them together, get to see all the Dino Thunder tech, which they didn't have in the first one. Believe it or not, Wolf, they actually made this part to complement the first one, where one, they're in the future, and now in part two, they're in the past.
Yeah, that definitely.
And we got to see the full team this time, minus Jason David Frank, who just
He
gave
was
his voice.
technically there.
Technically there.
He meets up with the Shadow Ranger and fights Zeltrax.
They have a big badass fight scene again. This one I will say was much better than the first one.
Yeah, because they didn't actively shit on them.
Right, and honestly I want to ask, what was the point of having Zeltrax? He fights, he gets beaten up, then he runs away.
Just for the recognition.
Right, just to have, we can say they fought a Dino Thunder foe in this.
Right.
It would have been so cooler to see Mesogog and Grum throwing down in this. Mesogog is an S tier villain, Wolf. He is definitely one of the highlights of Dino
and he
Thunder.
couldn't even show up for this.
Right. Reading your comments. Fun fact, Mesogog isn't a Super Sentai villain. He's an American-only villain.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's what made him great. He was kind of like Lord Zed that way.
Okay.
Read that one. Also waiting for Kira as the Mockingbird, since her actress could play her in Marvel Rivals.
Okay.
They both have sonic screeches and kick ass.
That's right, she used that in the previous one.
Time Force meeting Lightspeed Rescue was a weird episode.
Yeah.
It was lame. It starts out so good,
Right.
and then it just ends in complete disappointment.
We got all our battle forms. Let's shoot a tiny bolt and kill both of them.
Right. RPM and Beast Morphers never crossed over. That's because Beast Morphers was kind of a Netflix show. RPM was still owned by Disney.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So legally they couldn't do it without fucking wiggle room.
Right. I do like the team transformation where they get,
Yeah.
of course, the colored fireworks.
Right.
They have a big fight against Grum, waste his robots, and that's kind of the end of him. Grum wants to stay in the past, but Mora talks him out of it, saying, well, you have to reconquer all your planets because he didn't accomplish that yet.
Right.
And he kind of like throws a baby fit and decides, fine, we're going back to our prime show. And that's the end of it. The Rangers save the day, and Kruger uses a neuralizer to blank their memory.
Yep, all their memories as
Right.
well.
They can't remember any of this except for Tommy, who's not even here. Yeah, Tommy's got to put it in his History of Rangers documentary. Yeah, Tommy actually kept track of all the Rangers throughout history and revealed in Dino Thunder.
Damn, I can't I remember when he told everyone just, it'll be ready when it's ready.
Right. Basically, they go back and you were surprised that Doggy erased his own memory,
yeah,
too.
honestly, that kind of scene was very powerful of them to do. Like, the way they even direct it, they give it so much weight that it, like, honestly surprises me.
He tells them about, sorry, Rangers, but I have to do this.
Right.
Blanks all their memories, blanks the SPD team's memories, and even his own memory just to be safe.
Yep.
Apparently that's the rule. That's, like, the highlight of this episode, honestly.
Yeah.
Where would you rank it? I'm thinking...
Probably bad.
Yeah, I put it on high bad, honestly. Better than the bridge episode. This one... a step up over the first one, but just barely.
Right.
It's not a good crossover event, people. I'm sorry. Stick with To the 10th Power. That was the Psycho Rangers one.
Right.
I thought Trakina's Revenge was also pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one going on bad. Alright, next, I believe is the Meteor episode. Yeah, Impact. Alright.
Oh god, that's right.
A meteor is coming to hit the Earth, and Sky and Jack get into a pissing contest over who sacrifices themselves to blow it up. Okay, so this episode is supposed to highlight how far Sky and Jack have come as best friends. They're both now enemies to best friends, are total bros, and they don't want the other to die like, I'm a better pilot than you. No, I'm a better shot than you.
Right.
Who's going to destroy this meteor? They have to work together to, like, blow it up before it impacts the Earth.
Right.
And Jack sacrifices himself, and I swear, they try so hard to make you think, oh yeah, the Red Ranger's actually dead. He's gone. This is it. He killed himself to blow up the meteor.
The first character to die is the black one.
Right, the Rangers are like fighting a monster, attacking the city to distract them. Sky shows up, this is for Jack, and it turns out Jack's alive. Big shock. Jack
Right.
actually like went on the hood of the
that-
Megazord
it's
to
so
blast
stupid.
He-
Just brings out the big cannon, shoots it with the tiniest shot, and it blows up, and he flies out of there.
Right, like as if he was Ahsoka. Yeah. He returns, saved the day, turned into a Megazord, and Jack and Sky are now total bros who trust each other once again.
Yep.
Honestly, I thought this episode was reeked of filler. It felt very slow. I gotta
Right.
check if anything else happened in between this. Oh yeah, I fought Professor Cerebros.
Nope.
Nope, that
just
was
the
it.
meteor.
Just
and
their
the
usual
dra-
Power Ranger
That's
antics.
right, the second Dragool is what was kicking their ass.
Yeah, it was like the same machine they fought in the first crossover, but
Right.
upgraded.
Yeah, which honestly, I'm surprised they mention it.
Yeah, me too. That did have impact on their history. Yeah. This one I think is okay.
Yeah.
I'm putting under the Birdie episode because Grum and Kruger's fight was a highlight in that.
That's fair.
Yeah, this episode honestly is fine. If you like Sky and Jack's friendship, you might love this one. I think it's just alright. We've seen much better, which is coming up. Alright, next is... Yes, it is Badge. This is with another one of the villains from Kruger's past who's come back to challenge him. This evil swordsman is stealing badges from SPD officers for Broodwing. Yeah, Broodwing started getting his own villain schemes throughout this, building up towards his final fight in the first part, the finale.
What even was this plan going to be?
He was like stealing their badges because he wanted access to their base or something to hijack the Super SWAT Megazord.
Right, that would make sense.
Or that was his thing. That's what I thought he was planning.
It's just kind of weird.
But yeah, basically they fight this evil samurai guy who's besting Power Rangers. They're actually like getting hospitalized and hurt.
I know, right?
He steals their badges from them. He attacks Sky, defeats Bridge, defeats Sid, and even defeats Doggy Kruger. Z and Jack should have been the stars of this episode, seeing them actually solo this villain and win. But no, Doggy Kruger tells them get out of the hospital. We also meet that cat boy doctor.
Right,
the one with the painted face.
I think it's Dr. Felix.
Yeah, Felix.
Yeah.
Dr. Felix. And believe it or not, Wolf, I found out there was actually a story that was supposed to be around this guy. Felix was supposed to be Kat's second love after Doggy Kruger rejected her because his wife came back.
In the final 4 episodes, yep.
Yeah, it got cut for time because of course it did.
Right. That probably explains why he shows up in the, first part of the finale, I think.
Right, he shows up here and he shows up in the finale. He also treats A-Squad briefly in the background. Yeah, this guy was supposed to be Dr. Kat's love interest.
Incredible. Dr.
Kat was actually in love with Doggy Kruger, but she had to let go of him because Isenio was still alive and he was going to save her.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Dr. Kat and Kruger were supposed to be romantically shipped together throughout the show, but unfortunately, the finale forced them to cut a lot of stuff. And this guy was supposed to be Dr. Kat's rebound guy.
Incredible.
Yeah, basically. They lost to this guy. Doggy Kruger gets his groove back. He fights this guy. And he reveals, Isenia still lives, you fool. Doggy Kruger gets his groove back. Bests his arch rival. And they get their badges back from Broodwing.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think this episode is pretty good. I might put it on low good, but...
That's fine.
All right.
I honestly also really enjoyed this. I love the wave sword.
Right.
I forget what it was called.
He got like an upgraded sword blade.
Right.
Yeah, he fights him, defeats the evil samurai from his past.
Right.
And yeah, Doggy gets some closure, but it's opening up his finale arc for the final episode, which won't get any payoff until later. Yeah, this one, honestly, pretty good. I thought it was good build-up. Unfortunately, we're not at the finale yet, so I know you have a lot of words on this.
Yeah, also a good bit of backstory with Kruger, how he's much more, uptight and rigid to the rules, whereas this guy would play in any way just to win.
Right, he fought dirty.
Sand.
And he had, a thing for Doggy's wife, too. Isenia will be mine and not yours.
That's right, when I win, she'll choose me, clearly.
Right. Dr. Felix is played by Owen Black. He was on Hercules, The Legendary Journey.
Wow.
Wow, pretty good. They got a lot of New Zealand actors, alright.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Tommy Oliver created the Ranger database.
Okay.
That was his thing. Alright, so this one, pretty awesome one. Going on good. Alright, next is a shitty-ass clip show.
That's right.
Yep, here it is. What's the title? Insomnia. Alright, so...
That's right, I forgot they
can't
all
sleep.
Yeah.
I love that Z gets completely traumatized by Jack.
Yeah.
Couldn't sleep. She screams at the top of her lungs.
I know, right? Her screaming was insane in these last 3 episodes.
Yeah, Monica May has a real scream voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, all the Rangers can't sleep. They have insomnia, so they hang out in the break room where they have a montage clip show of how far they've come. They're all talking, having friendship moments, and talking about how much you've changed, how far you've come, all the obstacles we had to overcome,
right.
and how we grew as a team. And yeah, it's a clip show.
Right.
It's a clip show.
However, as a clip show, there are some clips they do use to good use. Those being all of them catching up on what Grums has been doing, and we see all the things he's been stealing over the course, things that they didn't even know until later.
Right,
and
he stole diamonds,
right,
he stole
all
gold.
these things are finally being connected by the characters, and I actually really like that.
Yeah, that was the only positive in this, that they're trying to sew the plot all together.
Exactly.
They're reflecting in the Rangers show their detective skills here.
Yeah, and it's kind of setting up the finale with pretty good build-up.
Unfortunately, this also has one of the worst parts. Emperor Grum is not the real villain.
Right.
We meet Omni. Omni is the true final boss. Who's Omni? A generic evil monster overlord who wants to destroy the planet Earth. And basically, all this stuff is to build his body. That's what they've been stealing. They're building him like a giant mech suit, basically, to crush the Power Rangers. Yeah. And Omni looks like that Voltaire monster from Billy and Mandy.
From Brains.
Brains, give me your brains. And I do not like that Emperor Grum is not the main villain. We're throwing this twist in this late.
Right? For a character that has had zero build-up, where Grumps has been the face of villainy this entire series.
I mean, how
come
low
on.
are you if you're the emperor of the empire?
Of the Grumps Empire, right?
Right. No, Omni's just God mode Sue. Yeah,
Right. I also hate that it brainwashes Moira when she goes in.
And this led to nothing.
Exactly.
This led to really nothing. Moira's trying to sneak in. Grum throws her in as punishment, and she's brainwashed by Omni, where she's now just emotionless.
Right, she's now fully evil instead of playfully evil. And that honestly should have come up in the next part as well.
Omni's like the supreme intelligence, or Krang of SPD.
I
Kind
feel
of
like Krang has had a lot more, though, to do in the series.
Yeah, Krang was actually present as a villain. Also, the Delta Squad Megazord is my favorite Megazord. Yeah, pretty cool. The one with all those sirens.
Right, but nothing will beat the Delta Winger.
The events of Wormhole likely happen after Moira saw Omni. Yeah, there was kind of a production issue. It's why she was in her little girl form in that episode, but then back to Morgana in the following one.
Huh.
It
Okay.
was kind of out of context. Where do you want to put the clip show?
Honest, probably okay or meh.
Really?
It's not that bad. Actually, as a clip show, it's not that bad.
Alright. Compared to Lightspeed Rescue, where we have to re-download their memories.
God, it's so stupid. Also, again, Z's scream is pretty good.
Yeah,
So,
I love
I kinda
Z
helps.
getting jump scared.
Right.
You never see this side of the Power Rangers
I
often.
know, right?
I love seeing the Power Rangers bonding and hanging out as friends. I miss those days.
Right, God, we had that in kind of Time Force, I think.
Right. This
So-
one... Alright. What
No,
were
you
gonna
go,
say?
you go.
Okay. This one... It definitely made me like the SPD crew. I do like how far they've come, but... Yeah, at the end of the day, it's another clip show episode, which is why I don't put it up higher.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very sad that a lot of clip show episodes exist in Power Rangers and are now fully obsolete thanks to the internet and DVDs.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I'll give you a break. We'll put this one on mid-tier. Going on meh. But now, we made it, Wolf, to the finale.
Yeah.
Starting with Resurrection.
No, that's right. Also at the end, isn't that when we got the beep as well from the outside?
That's right. They found someone.
Yeah.
And we find out in this episode who that someone was.
Yep.
Here, we get the return of A Squad. Finally got them, Wolf, our Psycho Rangers.
Yeah.
Here, basically, it's a bunch of setup building up towards the grand finale to questionable degrees. So, Jack gets a love interest in the second to last episode of the
Right.
series.
Randomly, he falls in love with this blonde girl who's doing the things that he and Z used to do,
Yeah.
only legally because it's from her company.
Right, her family's donating clothes to the poor. Jack almost arrests her.
God, he was very aggressive with her.
Right, but she was also kind of aggressive towards him, too.
Yeah, she resisted.
Right, she calls him out that, oh, she cares about the little people like you used to. And Jack kind of falls in love with her really quickly. I heard a lot of fans did not like the love interest because they shipped him with Z, basically.
Honestly, yeah. But no, the childhood friend never wins.
Right. No, he falls in love with this attractive blonde girl because black guys love white women. Okay. Yeah, they become friends, they go out on dates together, and this interferes with his duties as a Power Ranger.
Yeah.
Yeah, Grum is preparing for the final battle. Now they need all arms ready. And Jack is not shown up to work, pissing Kruger off, leading to, honestly, one of my least favorite moments. This is where I kind of stopped liking Jack as an S-tier Red Ranger. Out of nowhere, Jack is struggling to choose between his duties as a Power Ranger and having a social life.
Right, he doesn't want to know what future he wants.
And it feels so out of nowhere. He tells Kruger, this wasn't permanent. I don't want to be a Red Ranger forever. I want a life outside of work. And bro, didn't you grow to love being a Red Ranger?
Right.
This was your calling. You really enjoyed it.
Right,
And
that was the whole point of the first episode where you accepted being the Red Ranger instead of being imprisoned.
right. And I thought he was actually growing, that he wanted to become a Red Ranger, but no, he is now a part-time ranger, and he wants to end being a Red Ranger once they defeat Grum and his empire. And this kind of causes friction between him and Doggy Kruger. Doggy doesn't want him to leave, and he's kind of hiding his feelings, basically, that he likes Jack and wants him to stick around.
Right, well, he's also a pretty good Red Ranger.
And things only get worse when they meet A-Squad. They finally track down a signal on a crashed alien planet, have this really hard mode fight against that weird alien guy.
They go like full SWAT mode as well.
Okay, making sure we can be heard. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Alright, they have like this boss fight against this really tough alien dude, and once they end up defeating him, they find A-Squad, where the Red Ranger is a girl.
You got a problem with that?
Nah, I'm cool. Yep, we get our first ever female Red Ranger here, Wolf. And she's evil.
Right.
It turns out...
We also get an alien Blue Ranger.
Yeah, unfortunately never talked.
I know.
Most of the A-Squad don't get any character or personality, and it sucks.
They just get like a generic evil line in the next part.
Right, except for the alien dude. The blue one doesn't talk.
Yeah, poor guy.
Basically, they find A-Squad, bring him back, and now the Rangers are worried because Doggy has his favorite team back, and all their issues and insecurities are coming back up. It turns out they have nothing to worry about, except for one thing: A-Squad is evil.
Yeah.
A-Squad completely turn on Doggy Kruger. I do like their armor is kind of a corrupted version of the in-space armor.
Yeah.
Yeah, did you ever notice that, Wolf? They were in the in-space helmets, but on Psycho Ranger black armor.
Yeah.
They betrayed Doggy Kruger. A-Squad willingly betrayed SPD and humanity to work for Emperor Grum.
Yeah.
And this could have been such an interesting subplot.
Yeah, honestly, I think keeping them all the way until the end here was not good for the plot in the long run.
They should have showed up earlier and been reoccurring villains.
At the very least, we should have been talking more and more about them. We should have uncovered their past. Maybe see some problems they had with SPD, but ultimately they tried to do the job. And then when we come back and they're evil, it's like, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense.
Right. They had one scene foreshadowing this where Bridge detects their auras are off.
Right.
Way back in the friggin' pilot episode, so you forgot about it.
That.
Like, no child under 10 is gonna remember that, alright? But yeah, here it's paying off. They find out they've turned evil, and it ends with Doggy Kruger getting abducted. The Rangers have to fight without their mentor figure for once. This would have been so compelling if it didn't happen so late in the game.
Right.
How do you feel about the penultimate episode, though?
Did Broodwing do anything in this one?
I believe, like, he's setting up his plan.
Okay.
I could read it here. He's gonna infiltrate. He, like, recruits his generals.
Right, the three guys.
Who don't even have names. Yeah. Yeah, Broodwing is preparing for infiltration of the SPD building.
Right.
And he actually does it in the first part of Endings.
Yeah.
Where do you want to rank this one? Honestly, I might think okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was so interesting, but it did not end properly.
It didn't stick the landing.
Right? It failed at giving you a satisfying conclusion to all these subplots.
Yeah.
And it should have been, like, way earlier. We should have seen them as reoccurring villains, kind of like the Psycho Rangers.
Right, or like a ghost of the narrative.
Right, building up towards them and, you know, not having 50 different things happening at once. Yeah, basically...
Yeah, God, Broodwing got shafted so hard as well.
Right, then he comes in the finale. Speaking of which, let's end things with the appropriately named endings, where everything is finally happening. A-Squad is now a villain fighting the B-Squad Rangers. Kruger has been abducted, finds out his wife Icenia was held hostage by Grum for 100 years.
Right. Like, dude, why would you do that? Killing her is the much more satisfying ending.
Right. Omni is preparing his body to physically invade the Earth, which he doesn't do until part 2. And Broodwing is also invading the Earth. Broodwing breaks into SPD and hijacks their SWAT Megazord. He turns the precinct into his own weapon, now fighting the Power Rangers, and the Rangers are finally struggling here. They're losing everything. The city's become a war zone. All the stakes are very high. And, okay, so Linkara mentioned this in his review. As he said, I'm going to quote him, "These aren't bad ideas, but they are very rushed."
Yes. All of them needed a lot more time to breathe. all of it. Broodwing subplot should have ended in Endings Part 1.
Yeah, Broodwing should have been the penultimate villain, honestly.
Right? And I'm also sad we didn't really get a whole lot of Grum's versus Broodwing stuff. Once Broodwing left and Grum's like grew notice of him, he didn't really do anything. They never crossed blades at all.
At times he like willingly used Broodwing as a distraction for the
Exactly.
Rangers.
Right.
Right. It's so interesting, but they bull rush through like 50 different stories.
Right. There's barely little time for them to breathe.
And some characters pretty much got nothing. The Pink and Yellow Ranger don't really have an arc in here.
However, at the same time, I think having all these things clash at once could have also been done well in a different way, being throwing the characters into chaos and having to figure out how to deal with all of this at the same time.
Oh, Emperor's Grum actor is Mentor G from Power Rangers Samurai. I did not know that. Which is kind of sad because apparently the Samurai Mentor has been ousted as a sexual predator.
Come on.
Yeah, another Power Ranger actor controversy.
God.
This is what people tune in for, Wolf. Okay, so back to endings.
Yeah.
They're not bad, but man, is there just too much going on, and some of it's not ended in a satisfying conclusion.
Right.
Like, the A Squad gets defeated in part 1. And yeah, they're sealed up in cars. They're finally proving that the B Squad is the better Ranger team. Broodwing is basically the main boss of part 1, while Grum and Omni are the final bosses in part 2. Yeah. They're trying to end like 2 villain finales in these 2 episodes.
Right. And it could have been done well, but it just wasn't.
Right. There's a lot happening, and don't forget, we still got to deal with Jack retiring from SPD. That's still a thing, and honestly, at the end of the day, the main hero feels like Kruger by this point. Kruger's like doing everything.
The narrative is so intrinsically linked with him.
So yeah, who's the main character of this? It's like, this is a problem that Power Rangers did not have in a lot of the older episodes. And you notice how they're juggling between who's the protagonist, who's getting what. And, oh, don't forget, the Nova Ranger shows up.
I forgot about that. There's nothing character.
Sam's partner from the future.
Right.
Fans nicknamed this Ranger Wolf the 11th Hour Ranger.
I mean, yeah, she does come in the midst of the chaos.
Right, she comes in, basically helps, and also gets no character. We don't even know who she is.
Right.
I thought it'd be interesting if she was the robot girl.
Sophie,
yeah, we just seen part 2. Birdie and Silverback show up. They don't really get to do much.
But I really like that scene
where all the characters
SPD
show up to fight.
Yeah. We finally get to see all of SPD together, even though it's like 20 guys.
Right.
But it's nice to see that they didn't forget them.
Yeah, it's pretty cool fight scene wise, but narratively it feels too fast, too weak.
Oh, that's right. We also have to deal with Moira in this one as well.
Moira gets anticlimactically defeated.
She gets a hallway fight where she's throwing the
bunch of drawings and they're getting slashed by the Shadow Ranger.
Right.
And yeah, basically Doggy Kruger easily catches her, very anticlimactically too. That's the end of Moira. Kids. Yeah, the Nova Ranger was pointless. She was. She absolutely was. Moira's anticlimactically defeated. Broodwing gets a final boss fight, and this pissed me off so much how I said, I can't believe we finally defeated Broodwing. It's like, did this guy even pose as a threat towards you?
Only like a couple times. Like when he captured Kat.
Right, I know he's a threat, but Wolf, they try so hard to make him feel like he's Frax.
I know.
like he's up there next to Frax or Deviant.
He is not the good third-party villain that he should have been.
Right. He has like a lack of threat. That was kind of the issue. He kept
a lack
losing
of presence as well.
Right. He felt like he should just remain one of the commander generals.
Right. Although it was funny seeing Piggy have to call everyone and sell each other out.
Right, Piggy backstabs everyone.
Right.
He sells them out to Grum, and I do love that Piggy asks God for a sign when didn't do the right thing.
Smites his business.
It's like God smites his RV and totals it. That was definitely the funniest thing I've seen.
Right.
Piggy turns good, disguises himself as a crybot, and busts them out of prison. Not sure how that worked, but yeah. He saves the day, apologizes for being a dick, and everybody stands united. They have Omni gain his body, and I really feel nothing. This guy is, like, not even a character.
Right, and he's a boss fight, and that's it.
Right, we get the final Megazord duel. He's gonna destroy the Earth with a giant rock antenna or something.
We also get a really good fight with Kruger
And Grum.
And Grum.
Icenia.
Yeah, that's right. Icenia was there as well.
He's gonna, like, kill her, but then they fall over, like, the abyss.
Yeah, and Grum's letting himself drop into the core because he'll be the one that got away.
Right.
The one that never got arrested.
And Doggy finally overcomes his trauma. He rescues his wife, saving, like, the last of his species.
Yep.
But they fight Omni, they blow him up, but haha, Grum's still alive for
Right.
one last fight. It's
So much for being the one to get away.
like, it's not over, Doggy. They have a fight, and Kruger beats Grum's ass, slices his other horn off.
Right.
Now they match, and he traps him in prison. Honestly, I think Grum should have died.
He should have died when he fell into the reactor core.
Oh, sorry, just need to grab
That would have been the poignant end with that line of "I'll be the one that you never caught."
Right. Basically, they save the day, they save the Earth, and the Trivian Empire is completely totaled now.
Yeah.
The Rangers save the day, and we get that 1 second clip of Sam and Nova's face demorphed.
God.
I heard everyone hated that.
Of course. It'd be better if they stayed as light forms.
Right, we get to see older Sam and what Nova looked like before
Right.
they teleport out in like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
They save the day, and we get to pretty much one of the highlights of this. I also liked
ending.
the epilogue. Yeah, we see Sky finally becomes the Red Ranger.
Yeah,
he asked him like the same question
test.
from the pilot.
Yeah, would you be able to follow if I had chose
Sid as the Red Ranger, and he says, "Yes, I trust her with my
I'd
life."
follow anyone you had as leader.
Right, and this was his final test. He passed, and Sky becomes Red Ranger, and Jack retires and is now helping the poor on the streets.
And there will never be an A team ever again.
Right. From now on, B team is the only #1 team.
I love
which
that so
kind
much.
of voids what you just said.
Alright.
There will be no A squad. B squad is #1, which makes them #1 squad anyway.
Right. Come on.
What a waste. And yeah, we get this the adventure continues ending where we see them morph now with Sky as red and Bridge got promoted to blue. It should have been Sid or Z.
Honestly, I think Z should have been put up to blue.
Right. It would have been much more satisfying that way if one of the girls got promoted.
Yeah. Or hell, also throw Boom in as the 5th Ranger to make up the numbers.
See Boom become like the Green Ranger finally.
Or give him yellow because that's close enough to orange.
Nah, just the main characters. And Jack is now happy helping homeless people on the streets.
Yeah,
even
doing what he used to do.
He could have
but legally.
Could have been a beat cop ranger or something.
I know, or he could have just gone down a bit in the ranks of SPD.
That's also kind of why I didn't put Jack on S tier for Red Rangers.
Because he doesn't end as a ranger.
Right. He just quits and gives up, and it feels so out of left field. He liked being a ranger.
It didn't really change him at all, either. Again, he goes back to what he was already doing.
Right. And yeah, Sky, I do like Sky becoming promoted to Red Ranger. That felt like a satisfying end to his character arc.
It does, but I still think he shouldn't have gotten it.
Really? You think he should have stuck with Blue?
I think he should have been content with Blue Ranger, yes. I think that would have been a great ending to the character arc, instead of giving us the reward of him being red.
Alright. Oh, somebody pointed out how in Once a Ranger, the SPD Ranger they recruited for Red isn't even Sky. Bridge gets promoted to Red. Yeah, it happened. Okay, so in Once a Ranger, they get like
I assume this is the next season's
crossover. The
crossover?
Operation Overdrive crossover.
Oh, God.
Basically, in this crossover, we get Rangers like from a lot of past eras. They got Johnny Young Bosch. They got Kira from Dino Thunder.
Oh, nice.
They got Tori, the blue ninja ranger from Ninja Storm.
Okay.
They got Xander from Mystic Force.
Nice.
And they needed a red ranger. They were going to get Sky, but Sky's actor was unavailable. So instead they got Bridge and had him promoted to SPD Red because they needed that color.
Okay.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, honestly, maybe things happened. Maybe Sky left or died or
Right,
something.
maybe he had other priorities.
Right, maybe he started up a different A squad, actually.
Bridge actually mentions where Sky is. Sky got promoted to the Shadow Ranger, meaning he replaced Doggy Kruger.
Nice, okay.
And that's how they kind of
fair.
wrote him out. But a lot of people like really liked Sky and wanted to see him be the Ranger that came back for the crossover. Instead they got Bridge, who's now Red, who I did not trust as Red.
No, I honestly would trust Sid more.
Right. They should have got her, but no, they already had 2 girls. We needed more guys.
Yep.
But where do you want to rank endings? Where do you want to end this? Because...
God, part of me wants to say meh or okay, part of me wants to say good.
Right. Part of me also wants to say bad because a lot of the plot threads were unsatisfying.
Yeah, if we could do okay meh then.
Okay,
because that's in the middle of where we want it.
Right. I'm going to put it under the build-up episode.
Okay.
Maybe under the Birdie episode, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one... It's a mixed bag. It is a really mixed bag. It's not the worst finale I've ever seen in my 9 lives, but... Man, is it not fully satisfying. They have a lot of hits and a lot of misses.
Right, Icinia being alive, huge miss for me still.
But Wolf, now they can save the doggy species.
That's the whole thing. He should have lost everything.
Should have,
That was the whole point of the backstory and why he's this tragic hero.
Also, a few days ago, the Lost Mainframe Entertainment Weirdos pilot has been found.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
More lost media being found is always cool.
Someone also told me that the Go-Go Ranger shows and the Sentai footage are no longer available on some sites.
Aw.
Yeah, apparently they got pulled or something.
Okay.
Which sucks, but yeah, apparently, yeah, the originals are not easily found, easy to find anymore. Sorry.
That's also just with Japanese copyright stuff.
Right, Japanese copyright is the
hard
worst.
on it.
Okay, so there you have it, folks. Endings is meh.
Yeah.
Really underwhelming finale.
And I think I'll see myself out here.
All right, take care,
I've got
Wolf.
D&D in a bit.
All right, have fun.
No problem.
I'm
Very
about to wrap up anyway.
Yep.
As Sid, Daphne, Blake, and Z... Oh, Sid is Daphne and Z is Velma. Yeah, kind of. Though Z is a lot hotter than Velma. As SPD is best and the Scooby-Doo version of Power Rangers. Yeah, a lot of people pick Mighty Morphin over them. But, as you can see, we did it. We talked about all of SPD, and honestly had a lot of good on here. A lot more in A tier this time over S tier, but... also a few more duds here and there, especially towards the end of the series. Alright, we'll go over the list one last time for any of you late birds, or for those of you who skip click all the way to the end to see the ranking in full. Was eating and lurking, but pretty much agreed with all these. Thank you, Shadow. Thank you very much. Yeah, you can see... honestly, a really mixed Power Rangers season. Look how many we got on okay and bad. Got one bad, horrible episode on worst, but honestly a lot in good and the best as well. Alright, so, worst episode of SPD is the first Dino Thunder crossover. Yeah, it sucks. The Dino Thunder Rangers get sidelined in their own crossover event. It pissed me off. It pissed me off so much that SPD kept saying, no, you're not Rangers anymore, you're useless. And basically building up to when the Dino Rangers put their damn morphers back on. Easily one of the worst episodes of this series. Possibly one of the worst of the franchise as a whole, but don't quote me on that. Going on the worst. Then in bad, yep, I did not like Dogged. Sid's episode did not make me like her more. I think honestly her mean moments heavily outclass her nice moments. It's just a really weak episode. Going on bad did not make me love this Pink Ranger. Yeah, honestly, I think Dana is a lot more likable than Sid is. Then, the Rangers rely on Doggy Kruger, the Shadow Ranger. They become complacent in this episode. Rangers are not at their best here. They feel borderline like the Overdrive Rangers, saying, oh, the Shadow Ranger can handle everything. The Shadow Ranger does all the work. Yeah, Rangers at their worst, going on bad. Then we get the episode where they distrust Sam. This one has kind of a similar formula to the Shadow one, where now they're afraid Sam is going to replace them, and Doggy loves the Omega Ranger more than us. Yeah, I did not like the Rangers here too. They were also really out of character, really shallow and really mean. Just a really lame episode. Bridge gets stuck in the jigsaw room. Honestly, I do not see what fans love about Bridge. I just find him so annoying to a lackluster Ranger. We see Bridge and Jack become best friends in this episode, and honestly, it should have been replaced by a more plot-heavy episode. Lame filler, going on bad. And on top of the D pile is the second crossover, the Wormhole. We get to see the Dino Thunder Rangers meet with SPD in their timeline. This one does some things better, but the keyword being some. A lot of interesting moments. We get to see the full Dino Thunder team. Minus JDF actually physically appearing, but yeah, it's also kind of a lackluster crossover. The two Ranger teams come together to basically waste a bunch of robots, and Zeltrax is completely cucked. Yeah, pretty bad. Don't like it. All these ones, terrible episodes. If we want a lot of bad, just do Overdrive and Megaforce. That would be pretty funny. I might suffer Overdrive to see how big the F tier will be. That could be pretty insanely fun. So after the video stream, I have to finish my Momo Aisi and Akaran versus Ladybug Cat Noir, as it's the longest. Okay, Kira. Can't wait to see it. Alright, in the mid-tier, okay and meh, we have the Clip Show episode. Yeah, it's another Power Rangers clip show, but it has a few more funny moments, so in some points, we have perspective. The Rangers tell biased stories on how awesome they are. Has some funny moments, and the actors were definitely having fun, but it's also kind of a slow, repetitive episode. Going on okay. We have Sky finally being put in his place by Jack. Definitely a humbling adventure, but I will say it does feel formulaic outside of Sky slowly seeing the error of his ways. This one's alright. We have Bridge proving he's an ace detective. I do not like Bridge if you've been paying attention to our tier list. I think he's a fine character, and I will say I do appreciate that they're trying to show he is worthy of being a ranger here, but it's another comedy episode I'm not too keen about. We have Impact. If you can't tell, this is the Meteor episode where Sky and Jack finally prove they're bros, fighting over who sacrifices himself to destroy the meteor. It's another one I think is fine. Not a must-watch episode and honestly kind of skippable, but it does highlight how far their friendship's grown. We have the finale. Wolf and I talked about this one in great detail. It was a mess. I'm sorry. There are some highlights here. Doggy Kruger is at his peak here. Seeing Dr. Cat throw down with Crybots is cool. Broodwing taking over the SPD base. And of course the epilogue finale where Sky becomes a worthy Red Ranger. All really good stuff. But a lot of bad endings, a lot of disappointments. Wasted the A Squad, wasted Moira, wasted Broodwing kind of in the end, and demoting Emperor Grum for a generic video game boss, all hell no, did not like them. This had a lot of good but an equal amount of bad, that's why it's right smack in the middle on okay. Then Birdie takes over. As we said before, the highlight is Kruger's first fight with Emperor Grum, and it is pretty awesome. Birdie is what lost this a lot of points because he's so unlikable and unbearable, but seeing Doggy Kruger get his groove back definitely makes it worth watching. Going on silver medal territory. Then the prelude episode, the return of A Squad. This one gets you so hyped for the finale, but unfortunately it is held back by endings dragging it down. Has a lot of good moments. It was interesting seeing the A Squad as their Psycho Rangers, but as you heard, improvements could be made. All these ones, okay, mid-tier episodes. Shame SPD didn't see them watch their Super Sentai version of themselves like Dino Thunder. Yeah, that was pretty funny. Dino Thunder watching themselves. What would Japan know about Power Rangers? Alright, got a lot more in good this time, a lot more A-tier episodes over S-tier, but what made it onto good? Got Boom, the Orange Ranger. Yeah, it's a pretty nice episode spotlighting why we love Boom. Pretty great, and funny seeing an orange space ranger. Definitely worth it watching. The Stakeout episode. This one actually did make Sid a lot more likable, but also gave us a lot more depth for Jack. Do like these two having an odd friendship, and I bought it a lot more than his odd friendship with Bridge than I did with Sid. Definitely an awesome one. Awesome party. The Badge episode. Yep, Kruger gets his groove back and kicks ass again. Get to see the Shadow Ranger defeat the guy who attacked him and his wife, defeating this dirty cop. Really satisfying episode, and Doggy Kruger, really cool. Wish it was focused on Jack and Z getting an adventure together, but what we got is pretty good. The SWAT Megazord episode. Yeah, we get to see this highly improved Megazord, and it's pretty cool. This is Robot Palooza. Get to see all the robots fighting, huge Megazord brawls. If you love the giant monster fights, this episode is definitely for you. Pretty good. Jack gets humbled. Jack abuses his power as the Red Ranger episode and learns a lesson about teamwork and humbling himself. Yeah, it's pretty good. I do like it. I was afraid I was going to dislike this episode because Jack is at his most immature, but we see him grow very, very well in this. Definitely good. Messenger. Yes, this episode fooled us into thinking the Omega Ranger was going to be awesome. On its own, it is a fantastic episode. I like seeing the Omega Ranger's powers. Interesting seeing that this is a future version of Sam. I just wish there was a lot more better follow-up to this one. But on its own, yeah, it's a pretty fun introduction to the 7th Ranger. The pilot, we get to see how it all began. Honestly, a pretty interesting start. Very nice seeing who these Rangers are, seeing this world, and getting us used to this entire series' footing. Definitely an A-tier episode. SWAT. Yep, get to see the Rangers finally humble themselves and become competent Rangers and gaining epic battleizer armors. This one definitely salvaged the SPD crew for sure. I really like it, and seeing Kruger as Silverback is definitely a fun time. Definitely an awesome one, going on good. Sky versus Drew. Yep, great friendship betrayal episode. Not gonna lie, I still do kind of prefer Memories of Miranoi a lot more, but that's because I love Maya. Sky's episode, honestly not too shabby. Really interesting seeing how far he and Jack become as friends in this, and definitely a good one testing Sky's loyalty. Definitely excellent episode. And Wired. Sophie was so likable that I wish she had more episodes. But yeah, another one where the Rangers have a big epic brawl and almost lose in this one. Sophie's an interesting character, and honestly, it's a pretty intriguing two-parter. Definitely top of the A tier. It is A+ work. But what made our very small S tier status? Who are the best? Samurai. Yep, it's a really great one. One of my favorite Jack episodes for sure. Seeing Jack gain confidence in himself and having a duel with a morally gray villain, it is just peak Power Rangers entertainment. Easily a best one. The body swap episode with Sky. I like seeing Sky finally think outside the box. He gets humbled, he grows as a person, and learns to appreciate his life for what he has. Definitely a fun one, and the villain is definitely a very menacing threat. Easily a best episode. Sam. Yep, Z has one of the best episodes of the series, and really makes me wish we got more with the Yellow Ranger because she was so awesome. Seeing Z actually come out of her shell, bond with this orphan child, and helping Sam choose between good and evil is so intriguing. Also, Moira is at her absolute scariest in this. Sam is one of the peak episodes of SPD. I really love it. 4th place. Yeah, good ideas in the finale, but very rushed and poor execution in the finale. Mystic Force suffered the same too. I agree, Shadow. You weren't here when I debated with Wolf which was better, the Mystic Force finale or SPD. Wolf actually kind of likes Mystic Force's finale a bit more. As if Boom is a cool character. Shame that Tommy and Kat's son becomes the green SPD. Oh, is that Bridge or someone else from the comics? We also don't have Dino Thunder or Wild Force episodes tier list. Coming soon, bro. Coming soon, bro. Coming soon. But top 3 time. Next is Reflections. Yep. S tier episode. It's a masterpiece. SPD at its peak here. Love Sky as a character. This cemented him as a fan favorite Blue Ranger. Mirlock is a menacing and creepy villain. Action is at its all-time high, really peak fight scenes, and we get to see Sky finally become a Red Ranger, as opposed to Once a Ranger, which didn't do that. Yeah, easily 3rd place on my tier list. Love this one. It is peak SPD. Then the next one, 2nd place, the Shadow Ranger. Doggy Kruger is one of my favorite characters ever, and once you know, his debut as the 6th Ranger is awesome. He is so cool. Love him slaying 100 enemies with that countdown bar in the corner. Seeing the Shadow Ranger's powers are so great, and he even saves Dr. Cat. Yep, good episode. Easily on the best. But number 1 goes to Catastrophe. Shocker, I know. Yeah, what can I say? I love Dr. Cat as a character, and Power Rangers finally gave me sexy cat women as a Power Ranger. It's definitely a good one still. Dr. Cat really kicks ass, and I wish she got to be a full-time Ranger after this, but this episode, it is good. We get to see Dr. Cat as the team mom, see her having actual fight scenes, seeing her kick ass, and showing how tight SPD has become as a family. This is easily my favorite SPD episode. Yep, I'm totally not biased. Dr. Cat is awesome. Yeah, easily my number one, and at rock bottom is History, because that crossover was disappointing. Trying to squeeze it if you can't see it all together, trying my best to fit it all in, but yep, this completes my SPD tier list. Dr. Cat episode is peak. Yes, it is, Akira. She is awesome. Like Sky's father's death is sad, but begs the question of how old was Sky in Time Force? Well, Wes could have passed the morpher on to someone else. Next Power Ranger episodes tier list. Okay, people want Wild Force. I do love that show. And Dino Thunder. Dino Thunder is pretty awesome, but I do have to refresh my memory on each episode. Not sure what our next Power Ranger tier list will be. I decided to do this for fun. I'm currently working on a video, so I will warn you guys, there's not going to be a tier list Sunday, so don't worry about showing up. No tier list Sunday, gonna wait until next week, and again, I'm currently working on a Tales from the Dark Side review. Hope you guys check that out, because it's a pretty crazy one coming up. For tier lists, most likely we're not going to do Power Rangers, we're going to probably do Scooby-Doo. I'm watching Scooby-Doo meet all the celebrity guest stars, the first one, the new Scooby-Doo movies. Hoping Shadow shows up to that one because I got some fun banter to share with him. But yeah, I might do the Scooby-Doo guest stars. For Power Ranger tier list, I know people want us to do more episodes. I still need to do one on the mentors. That one's most definitely one on my list I need to cross off. People want me to talk about all the Ranger mentors. I just gotta watch a few of the episodes to get a grasp and feel for each and every one. And Power Ranger villains, don't worry, I didn't forget about that one. Again, I got like 30 years of Power Ranger content to watch, so please give me some leeway. But yeah, this was definitely a fun tier list to talk about. SPD, as you can see, is a pretty good show. We do have some lower tier than normal, but a lot in good, and definitely a few peak Power Ranger plots in the best. Personally, my favorite episode's the Shadow Ranger, also peak. Well, as always, until next time, may the power protect you. Bye, Shadow. But yeah, thank y'all for joining me on this tier list, so I'll reward you guys by finally setting you 3. SPD is a pretty awesome show, highly recommend it, especially these top 6 episodes here. But yeah, that completes my tier list. Until next time, folks. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, or just tune in next time for more videos posted here on Wolf Entertainment. I'm your host, Catastrophe, and I'll see you all later. Until then, may the power protect you.